Hey everyone, how's it going? We have a trooper testifying right now. Is it Trooper Proctor? No, it's not Trooper Proctor. But maybe Trooper Proctor would testify, maybe not. I don't know. It seems like an opening statement. It seems like Lolly, to me, it sounded like he had intention to call Trooper Proctor on the stand, but it's possible that he might not. And then defense, are they going to call Trooper Proctor? Well, if Trooper Proctor testifies, he is under investigation. Maybe he'll plead the Fifth Amendment from what I read in articles, and maybe won't get anything out of him anyways. Remember, Trooper Proctor is the lead investigator, so we're kind of still in suspense on what's going on with Trooper Proctor. But you know who we have on the stand? We have Trooper Bukenik on the stand. What's her name again? Who called her Trooper Bukenik earlier? Oh God, I'm totally gonna get demonetized for this. But we have Trooper Bukenik on the stand, who is Trooper Proctor's, I think, supervisor and partner. And yeah, let's see if Mr. Bukenik is going to be able to testify instead of Mr. Proctor. Instead, I don't know, because Proctor is already kind of like a hot mess. But I'm going to start. Hold on, let me make sure everything's good on my end. I hope you guys are doing well. Hi, Christine. How are you doing today? I was going to wait until the trial was over to start streaming. I'm like, yeah, I'm just going to start now. They're about to be over soon anyways. I think they have another about like an hour and a half maybe. But let's just jump in on this. I did listen to the previous testimonies. They wrapped up with, I think it was, what's her name? Hartnett? Oh gosh, I forgot these names. But they had two other previous witnesses earlier. One from the carryover from yesterday, who got the pieces of the taillight, put them together, and rebuilt it. And then we have another witness who tested the taillight. Wait, I think they tested the glass pieces. Major takeaway from that, and honestly I have to re-listen to it again, but it was like very confusing. The major takeaway that I got from that was there was one piece of glass that matched the glass that was found at the crime scene, but the other pieces of glass didn't match. So it's like, well, where did those pieces of glass come from? Yes, I plan to. Sarah Boone. Yeah, Sarah Boone stuff tomorrow, so I'm planning to. Hi, Rain. How are you doing today? Hey, Nicole. Hello, hello. Hope you guys are doing well. Lali's Freudian slip was when he was wearing the Navy suit and the Navy tie. It may have been doing Vadir. Oh, I think I might have missed it or might have went over my head. But guys, thank you so much for joining us. We are streaming live on Twitch and on the YouTube. Let's start with Trooper Bukenik's testimony. Oh, sorry. Her name was Ashley Valere. That's the witness from yesterday that carried over to today. All right, let me get all of my stuff ready. But how are you guys doing today? How is everyone? Yesterday, I did start doing my research of the Karen Reed trial stuff because I don't know. I'm just getting so frustrated with the state where I'm just like, oh God, I can sit here and be patient and wait for the state to present their case, or I'm just gonna do some internet research. So I did some internet research stuff. Still in the very beginning of it, but I think Lolly does better in his motions than he does in court presentation. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We're in day 20? We're in day 20. And it's kind of like, I don't know. We're kind of all over the place. It's a little disappointing, but I'm sure we just maybe have to give it time, and Mr. Lolly will get there. Maybe he'll get there. All right, y'all. So this is Trooper Yuri Bukenik, and he is Proctor's partner.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Would you please state your name and spell your last name for the jury?
Yes, sir. My name is Yuri Bukenik, spelled Y-U-R-I-Y. Last of B-U-K-H-E-N-I-K.
And how are you employed, sir?
I'm employed by the Massachusetts State Police.
And how long have you been a trooper with the State Police?
I've been a trooper since 2012.
And what?
Hi, Storm.
Prior to being employed as a trooper with the State Police, excuse me, what if any other employment?
So once that the judge has like another trial happening, so that's why she's having these like really weird half days or something like that. Like she got some other court stuff going on.
What background do you have as far as law enforcement is concerned?
My law enforcement career began in 2003 when I graduated from the military.
I usually kind of skip through the credentials, but when I listened to it earlier, it sounded quite impressive. So we'll listen to it.
Police school at Fort Leonard, Missouri, while I was enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. From there, I was stationed at Quantico, Virginia, with the Marine Corps Presidential Helicopter Squadron. I provided security for the presidential helicopter and assets, attaining a top secret Yankee White clearance. I was promoted meritoriously to corporal and sergeant and had a platoon of 40.
Isn't that cool? I did presidential helicopter stuff. What?
For Marines.
Cool.
From there, I was stationed in Kent County, California, where I was a patrol supervisor on base as a military police officer. Once my enlistment ended, I decided to come home and pursue a law enforcement career here in Massachusetts in the communities that I grew up in. I first worked for the VA Hospital Police, where I attained a secret clearance, which was a requirement of the employment. After that, I worked at the Attleboro Police Department in uniform patrol, as well as the SWAT team with Attleboro, Massachusetts Police Department. In 2011, I applied for the Massachusetts State Police, graduated, and worked at the Sturbridge Barracks, Millbury Barracks, and Foxborough Barracks. In 2015, I was selected to come
Hey, Kurt, how's it going? Hello, Bobby. Oh, thanks you so much for joining us.
to the Norfolk District Attorney's Office with the detective unit and worked homicide cases as a trooper. 2021, December, I was
You know what, Rain? I don't think it's the judge's fault that's making us lose interest. I think it's the prosecutor. Also, I want to know how come. So, Lolly is the assistant DA, but how come the DA, Morrissey, is not helping Lolly? Or is Morrissey too busy doing other things? Because Lolly's doing all the Lolly's doing all the direct examination. Like, does he not have a team to help him? Where's Morrissey at?
promoted and took on a supervisory role within the unit.
Now, with respect to your work within the unit of the detective unit at the Norfolk District Attorney's Office, what, if any, specialized training did you receive in regard to your work there?
I've attended numerous homicide conferences, training in various aspects of digital device analysis and investigations in major crimes, homicides, drug investigations, and so forth.
Wait, what? I remember the Canadian guy who flew the... Wait, what? The Canadian guy who flew the Queen ended up being a serial killer. What was their name? Morrissey. Morrissey's like, I'm good, bye. Maybe Morrissey will do the... Well, actually, no, we're already like, what? How many witnesses deep are we? Like 50 witnesses deep, I think? 50, 60? I don't think we'll see Morrissey then.
Now, were you working in that capacity with the State Police Detective Unit on January 29th, 2022?
I was.
And were you on call that day?
I was on call as a supervisor.
Now, can you explain to the jury as far as the on-call system within the detective units? Well, let me ask you this first. What, if any, duties or responsibilities do you have as a sergeant or as a supervisor with reference to on-call duty and sort of how that works?
As a supervisor on call, responsibilities include answering the detective that's on call any questions that might arise. Obviously, we don't all have the same experience, so we put our heads together, and if it's a situation or case, a scene that they have not been exposed to before.
Hi, Norman. How are you doing today? Yeah, Colonel Russell. Oh, Colonel Russell. He took pictures of himself wearing his victim's lingerie. You know him? I don't know if I've heard of him before.
They call the supervisor for guidance, suggestion, or bounce questions off of them in order to help them navigate that case.
And who was the on-call detective on this particular date of January 29th?
January 29th, the morning hours up until 7 a.m., it was Trooper Michael Proctor.
And do you know Trooper Proctor?
Wait, so Proctor was already... Hold on.
Call the supervisor for guidance. All have the same experience, so we put our heads together, and if it's a situation or case.
Because a lot of us are wondering, well, did Proctor insert himself into this case, or did he happen to be the person on duty and then he was assigned to it?
A scene that they have not been exposed to before. They call the supervisor for guidance, suggestion, or bounce questions off of them in order to help them navigate that case.
Oh,
and
final
who was the
exams?
on-call detective on this particular date of January 29th?
January 29th, the morning hours up until 7 a.m., it was Trooper Michael Proctor.
Okay.
And do you know Trooper Proctor?
I do.
And how long have you known Trooper Proctor?
Since he came into the office in 2019, I believe it was September, October 2000.
So it seems like he didn't really insert himself into the case or was like, hey, I'll take this case, I'll take this case. He was already the person that was on call. However, should Michael Proctor, should he have been like, hey, maybe I might be too close to this case, get someone else to do it? I don't know. Maybe.
And have you supervised Trooper Proctor sort of throughout his work within the office?
I have supervised him throughout my supervisory position. So his entire time in the office, while I was a supervisor, I've supervised him directly, yes.
So he's a supervisor to the supervisor. Got it.
And as far as that on-call system or that on-call rotation is concerned, how is that determined or?
Wait, sorry, I'm going to do this. Oh, no, I can't show the transcripts. Oh, man, I like having the transcripts on the side.
September, October 2019.
And have you supervised
To the
and do you know Trooper Proctor?
hours up until 7 a.m., it was Trooper Michael Proctor.
Okay, up until 7 a.m.
my supervisory position. So his entire time in the office, while I was a supervisor, I was supervising directly, yes.
And as far as that on-call system or that on-call rotation is concerned, how is that determined, or how does that sort of come into existence?
The on-call system is formulated, it's compiled the month prior. So, for example, if it was December, beginning of December, the troopers in the office would submit their days requesting not to be on call due to trials, training.
So Lolly's trying to show that, like, oh, Proctor wasn't just thrown at the case at that moment, at that time. He's already been scheduled to be on call a month prior, because that's when they do their scheduling.
Personal reasons or vacations they had planned. Those days are submitted in the beginning of the month, and then if it's in the beginning of December, for example, the on-call schedule for January is then compiled a month in advance, really.
In December.
So these are generated well in advance of whatever specific day the trooper is on call, correct?
That's correct.
And as far as the detective unit within the North County District Attorney's Office, who, if anyone, is your supervisor?
Currently, my supervisor is Lieutenant Fanning, and the unit commander is Detective Lieutenant Brian Tully.
In that sort of pecking order, if you will, was that the way that it was set up in January of 2022 as well?
Yes, it was.
Now, on this morning of that,
Wait, Tully. We've heard of Tully before. Did Tully testify? Tully testified, right? Lieutenant Tully?
Within the North County District Attorney's Office, who, if anyone, is your supervisor?
Currently, my supervisor is Lieutenant Fanning, and the unit commander is Detective Lieutenant Brian Tully.
In that sort of pecking order, if you will, was that the way that it was set
Oh,
up?
I think we've heard of Tully before, but I don't think he testified yet.
January of 2022 as well?
Yes, it was.
Now, on this morning of January 29th, 2022, at some point,
I'm speeding up a little bit because it's Mr. Lolly.
you get a call
Hi,
in the
Moondog.
morning, and from whom do you initially get a call?
I received a call approximately 6:44 in the morning or so from the H Troop headquarters, which is the field headquarters for the Metro Boston area, which also covers our county. And they advised me that there was a body in the snowbank in Canton. I asked for further details and advised them that I was not on call, but I would call the on-call trooper and let them know that there was a call-out requesting their assistance. So that's why I did. I called Trooper Proctor and advised them to contact Canton Police.
And following
Proctor's like, no. The guy's not dead yet. I ain't coming, okay? Go to Canton Police. Is that what happened?
that initial contact that you had from the H Troop and then your call to Trooper Proctor, what happened then?
Trooper Proctor began making phone calls, gathering information.
Sustained. Next question.
What was the next thing that happened as far as your involvement was concerned?
I was advised of the circumstances under which the body was located and what was transpiring, and I told
Sorry, that's correct, right?
contact Canton Police.
Okay, and that's what happened. Canton got involved.
Sustained. Next question.
What was the next thing that happened as far as your involvement was concerned?
I was advised of the circumstances under which the body was located.
Because here's what I'm wondering. I'm wondering if they can just not call Trooper Proctor and have him testify in place of Trooper Proctor, maybe? Because it seems like in previous testimonies, whenever Trooper Proctor's name came up, I think your Bukenik was also coupled with him, like being together, investigating at the same time. But I don't know if they're always together, like, joined at the hip, but it seems like they were together, like, a lot of the times.
And what was transpiring. And I told Trooper Proctor that I would start shoveling out during the blizzard and then proceed to meet him in Canton to begin our investigation.
And where was it that you and Trooper Proctor first met up on that particular morning?
We met at the Canton Police Department.
And do you recall approximately what time it was that you arrived at the Canton Police Department?
It was approximately 9:15. Due to the amount of snow that was on the ground, the time that it took me to shovel out the main roads, actually no roads were plowed at the time during my track. So I decided to drive my personal.
So interesting. Okay, so we're starting to build even more of a timeline here. So were they notified that John O'Keefe was declared dead? I think it was it at 7:50, right? Was it at 7:50 that he was declared dead at the hospital? Were they notified of that and to come? Or was it like, oh, Canton Police is going to be conflicted out, so we need you guys to take over? What was the reason for them to start the motion of, like, state police troopers being involved? Was it because John O'Keefe was declared dead? Or was it because Canton was conflicted out? Or was it both happening at the same time? Because I wanted to know, when did police department, like, when did they start realizing that, like, oh, John O'Keefe didn't make it. He went to the hospital and didn't make it. When did they find out about that?
Truck to Canton police department because it was a four-wheel drive, and meet Trooper Proctor there.
Now, as far as your personal truck versus you have a work vehicle as well,
That's correct.
and you mentioned that the truck is four-wheel drive. What is the difference between your personal truck and its capabilities in weather versus the work vehicle?
Well, at the time, there was approximately 10, 15 inches of snow that had accumulated already. My work vehicle is a sedan, low to the ground, low clearance, front-wheel drive. It would not be able to navigate the road conditions at the time. My four-wheel drive vehicle is higher clearance from the roadway and was able to navigate the conditions at the time.
And sir, when you arrived, so at approximately 8:22 in the morning or so, where is it that you were at that point in time, if you know?
At 8:22, I would say I was still blowing the snow out of my driveway, clearing the path for my truck to leave
He also owns a snowblower.
the driveway.
And
Did you bring the snowblower to the crime scene?
when you arrived at the Canton Police Station, you mentioned that you met Trooper Proctor there. Do you recall who arrived first?
Trooper Proctor was in the parking lot in his vehicle, and I pulled in, backed in next to his, and we walked in together into the police department, I believe.
And when you walked into the Canton Police Station on that morning, sometime after 9 a.m., where is it that you went? Who, if anyone, did you talk to when you first got there?
We walked into the police department, were guided to the detective department division of the PE, and we met with the detectives from Canton and Sergeant Good, who was the uniform patrol sergeant and having been the first responder to the scene as well.
Now, without reference to anything that was communicated between the two of you, at some point prior to getting to the Canton Police Station, did you have conversations with Trooper Proctor?
Yes, I did.
And did Trooper Proctor make you aware of conversations that he had had with other people prior to getting to the Canton Police Station?
Objection.
Oh, I'll allow that. That's a yes or no.
Yes.
And so you get to the Canton Police Station, you and Trooper Proctor then proceed to talk to Sergeant Good, is that correct?
That's correct.
And again, without any reference to what was said to you by Sergeant Good, he relayed some information to you as well.
That's correct.
No, I'll allow that.
That's correct.
And if you know about how long was the period of the conversation that you had with Sergeant Good at the Canton Police Station?
The conversation with Sergeant Good was probably 25 to 30 minutes. He walked us through his...
Next question, please, Mr. Riley. I'm going to stop you from answering that, Sergeant.
Yes, Ron.
So, Sergeant Bukenik, in reference to at some
Sergeant Good already testified, right? But did Sergeant Good testify about meeting with Trooper Bukenik at the police station? I don't remember that.
point, did you learn the name
Hi,
of
Nitrous.
the body or the person that was found on the lawn on Fairview Road?
Yes, I did.
Who did you learn him to be?
Mr. John O'Keefe.
And in reference to where Mr. O'Keefe's body was at that point, what, if any, information did you receive about that?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
We learned that Mr. O'Keefe's body was transported to the hospital, Good Samaritan Hospital in Brockton.
And in reference to the Good Samaritan Hospital in Brockton, who, if anyone else, were you told had been taken to that facility as well in relation to your response that morning?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
The defendant.
And just to be clear, at some points over the course of your investigation, have you had interactions with Karen Reed?
Yes, I have.
And to be clear, when we say, as far as Karen Reed, the defendant, you see her in the courtroom today.
Yes, I do.
Did you
Wait,
identify
why are we skipping to Karen Reed? Let's talk about when did they find out that John was declared dead?
just as to where she's seated or an article of clothing that she's wearing?
She's seated between her legal defense team wearing the white blouse.
John, does that the record reflect identification of the defendant?
Yes.
So upon having that conversation with Sergeant Good at the Canton Police Station, where is it that you and Trooper Proctor went next?
From the Canton Police Department, we proceeded to the McCabe residence.
And that was over on Country Lane, is that correct?
That's correct, number 12,
Time?
Country Lane.
What time?
And when you arrived there, as far as transportation to that, is it you and Trooper Proctor in the same vehicle?
Yes, I made the decision to drive us. That way we only take one vehicle. In addition to Trooper Proctor being able to make phone calls and facilitate other logistics as necessary, allowed him that freedom to do so while I operated the vehicle in the dangerous snow conditions.
And the snow conditions that you were talking about as far as clearing out your driveway, the drive to the Canton Police Station, did those conditions persist throughout the day of the 29th?
Yes, they did.
And so you make your way over to the McCabe residence, again, without anything that was said. Who, if anyone, did you speak with at the McCabe residence that morning?
What time did you arrive there? Please, I love timelines. They help me with my brain.
We first spoke with Miss Jennifer McCabe. We then spoke with Mr. Matt McCabe. And then we spoke with Mr. Brian Albert.
And with reference to each of those conversations, were they done collectively or separately, or how were those interviews conducted?
Each interview was conducted separately. We first interviewed Miss Jennifer McCabe with request of Mr. McCabe to give us privacy. He proceeded upstairs. Once we were done with that interview, Mr. McCabe came downstairs, and Miss McCabe gave us the same courtesy. And once that interview was over, Mr. Brian Albert had arrived, and we interviewed him briefly.
Okay, they interviewed them separately. But, you know, the three of them had already been at Brian Albert's house earlier in the morning to probably compare stories and talk to each other.
Is that sort of the typical process of how at least your unit conducts interviews with respect to civilians?
Yes, with cooperating civilians, we typically advise them they were going to be, we schedule an interview. We proceed to their location of convenience and separate them and get their version of recollection of events.
Which to me, it's not out of the ordinary. Like if something like this just happened, you would be talking about it with the people that you're with, right? And the people that were with you the night before when John was around.
That we are inquiring about.
I want
Now, after you
timelines.
spoke with those three individuals, yourself and Trooper Proctor at the McCabe residence, where is it that you and Trooper Proctor went next?
We proceeded to the Good Samaritan Hospital in Brockton.
And where
Time?
within the Good Samaritan Hospital did you go?
We went to the emergency department.
And within the emergency department, were you led to a specific room?
Yes, we were.
And what, if anything, did you observe when you were in that room?
Once in the room, we observed Mr. O'Keefe's body on the medical bed or gurney. And
Now, I wonder if anyone from the ER department relayed to law enforcement that, oh, a paramedic told me that he may have been hit by a car. Because we have some testimonies that are kind of like disjointed. One paramedic said that they relayed that to the ER department. I think one of the doctors testified a couple days ago, said that he didn't hear that, but maybe he misremembered, maybe it didn't happen. So now I'm curious to know, when law enforcement arrived at the hospital, what did the hospital staff tell them? Were they like, oh, hey, this patient came in, he was, hypothermic, and it seems like the paramedic said that he may have been hit by a car. We don't know, right?
his clothing, which had been cut off of him, were on the floor at the foot of the
Hey,
bed,
Joe.
a couple of feet away at the foot of the bed.
Now, first,
Anybody want some tea? What? Are you trying to poison us, Joe? What's going on? I'll take some tea, but you could hold the bath salts, please.
with regard to the clothing, what, if anything, did you do with regard to that?
After viewing Mr. O'Keefe's body, we proceeded to identify the clothing items and bag them into evidence bags, notating which item and a brief description about each item of clothing.
But I think they put I think they put the t-shirt and the sweatshirt in one bag, if I remember correctly from yesterday's testimony, instead of bagging it separately, I think.
So let me ask you just a little bit about that as far as that process is concerned. So when an item of evidence is collected by you or by your units during the course of an investigation, is there sort of a policy or protocol, or how are things, what do you do with things when you collect them and take them into custody and evidence?
If we deem an item to be of evidentiary value, we identify the item, we take a brief description of it, and we label the evidence bag with that description. We notate who's taken the item into custody, typically who located the item, the time that it's located, and the location from which it was seized or taken or collected.
And with regard to items of clothing, is that something that would be placed in just one big bag of clothes, or like how would those be packaged in evidence bag?
Mr. O'Keefe's clothing, which was already in one big pile on the floor, we packaged all.
Okay, jurors, feel free to stand up and stretch.
So I would assume that the hospital staff, when they were, attending to John O'Keefe, they probably cut off his clothes and then just threw it on the floor in a pile. And then they'll have law enforcement come and deal with it. Oh, this is John O'Keefe's mom. Poor mom. Wonder how mom feels about Karen.
And so, I'm sorry, Sergeant Bukenik. When you come into the hospital room where Mr. O'Keefe's body was, there's clothing items that are on the floor, is that correct?
That's correct.
And do you recall how those clothing items were in relation to each other, in relation to the floor?
They were positioned on the floor in a pile stacked on top of each other, and they were in the condition of being soaking wet.
And with respect to those clothing items, do you
From snow, from blood.
recall what those clothing items were individually?
I think
Yes,
they
sir.
mentioned that he even had vomit on him.
And what were
They were a plaid pair of boxer underwear. It was a orange-colored design print T-shirt. It was a blue pair of Lucky Brand jeans, a belt, two-tone gray, light, thin, hooded sweatshirt, and a right sneaker, black in color with white design and a Nike brand.
And how many sneakers were there contained within that property?
One right sneaker.
And what, if any, observations did you make of the condition beyond them being soaking wet?
I also recognized, due to the aroma and visual observations, traces of vomit on the clothing.
And with regard to those items that you observed on the floor, what, if anything, did you and or Trooper Proctor do with reference to those clothing items?
I'll allow that.
Once we went through the clothing, we collected each item and put it into a large evidence bag. We double bagged it due to the wetness of the clothing, so it would not seep through. We also identified the fact that there was only one sneaker. So I requested that Trooper Proctor contact the paramedics that transported Mr. O'Keefe from 34 Fairview to the hospital and have them once again check their ambulance to see if there was another sneaker inadvertently left behind in the ambulance vehicle.
Now, prior to sort of physically touching this or any other piece of evidence, what, if any, other sort of precautions?
Oh, you know, it'd be interesting. So they found the other sneaker a couple hours later when they got the CERT team, the search and rescue team, to come at the crime scene and start digging around the snow. We saw the sneaker that was found and it was like flushed up against the curb. What I want to know is what was underneath the sneaker. So like, was underneath the sneaker, was there more snow or was there just like concrete? But we only saw a picture of the sneaker in the snow, not the sneaker being picked up and then what was underneath it. I feel like that would have been kind of important to see.
Do you take prior to?
Because we're wondering, you know, was he left out there after there's already been snow on the ground, or was it before it started really snowing heavily?
Handling, tactile handling, any piece of evidence.
Anytime we handle evidence, which obviously we take great caution not to destroy, alter, or discard any evidence, we also put on gloves in order to help preserve that item.
And in reference to these items or items of anything of evidentiary value that you seize as evidence, once you take it and secure it into an evidence bag, what happens to it from there?
Once it's secured in the evidence bag, it is sealed and logged into our evidence storage facility at the office. And then as necessary, it is signed out, shipped off.
Yeah, there's definitely snow around it, but I want to know what was underneath it.
Off to for processing, review, or court proceedings.
And as far as that sealing is concerned, how are bags or boxes of items of evidentiary value, how are they sealed?
Once the bag is...
I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Thank you. Once the bag is sealed, it's utilized. We utilize tape, typically red.
So I'm glad that they sealed it in evidence bags, you know, instead of just putting it in a paper bag and then just folding it. Because I don't think they ever sealed that evidence bag.
Or yellow tape. Once it's secured, we initial and date the tape on the edge. And that procedure helps identify the time and date it was sealed and by who with the initials.
And then once that bag or box is sealed, if that bag or box is subsequently opened at a later time, what, if any, notation or what if any recordation of that is made?
Anytime a piece of evidence is signed out for review, it's logged in the...
Well, here's what I was trying to figure out with the yesterday's testimony. Because the search and rescue guy did mention that there was like snow that was hard to get to. It was like packed snow as a result of the snowplower going through and packing the snow together. It was hard to get through that. And then there's also the snow that's just like snow that fell from the sky. That was easier to get through. So I was trying to figure out in his testimony, and I feel like Lolly didn't really make it clear because I think that's really important. Were the broken pieces of plastic, the shoe, were they like in the packed snow? So like if you're using a leaf blower, maybe like wouldn't be able to like access it readily. Maybe. I don't know. I was trying to figure that part out, but I didn't get my answer. So I don't know.
Tracking system. In addition, anytime a piece of evidence is open, with a container being the bag or a box is open and the tape is cut, it is then resealed, reinitialed, and dated by the trooper or an individual who's signing that evidence out and then returning it.
Also, the people with the snowblower, the Canton PD with the snowblower, what was the grid? Did they say they were? It was like, was it like 10 feet by 10 feet or 6 feet by 6 feet? I don't remember. They had like a surrounding area around John O'Keefe's body where they were looking around and they didn't see anything. I forgot what the area was. I have it in my notes somewhere.
As far as the evidence bag or box is concerned, when it's been opened, is that something that is noticeable based on the sealing and resealing of that particular receptacle?
Yes, sir. It is definitely noticeable, and it's noted in the systems.
Now, with regard to, you mentioned or made some mention earlier in the testimony in regard to.
But here's what we want to know. We want to know the chain of custody. So once they were able to keep, once they got a hold of the clothing, put it in evidence bags, sealed it, where did it go from there? Because it didn't arrive for the people to test it in the lab, I think, like until, was it like mid-March or something? So what's the chain of custody once they got it? Where did it go next? Was it driven to like the state police evidence holding area or something like that? That's what I want to know.
Evidence storage facilities at your office?
Yes.
Can you describe what those are and who, if anyone, has access to those evidence storage areas?
Within our office, we have 2 troopers that are designated as evidence officers. Those individuals have access to the secure rooms designated strictly for evidence storage. Those rooms are inventoried and kept under not just lock and key, but also digital access control and alarm systems. They are the only ones that have access to those facilities. Control rooms are individuals have access.
So he's answering my question right now. I was thinking about what we were saying in the comments.
Earlier in your testimony in regard to evidence storage facilities at your office.
Yes.
Can you describe what those are and who, if anyone, has access to those evidence storage rooms?
Within our office, we have 2 troopers that are designated as evidence officers. Those individuals have access to the secure rooms designated strictly for evidence storage. Those rooms are inventoried and kept under not just lock and key, but also digital access control and alarm systems. They are the only ones that have access to those facilities, in addition to our unit commander. But I'll tell you that our unit commander does not access that room without the evidence officers. I myself, even as a supervisor, do not have access to that room.
You don't have access to that evidence room, is that correct?
That's correct.
Trooper Proctor, is he one of those evidence officers? Does he have access to that room?
He does not.
As far as at the time in January of 2000.
Also, when were these clothes dropped off at the evidence storage? Okay, so that's exactly what I was looking for. Did Trooper Proctor collect evidence and then just left it in his car, like in the back seat, and then it sat there for a couple of weeks? Like, what happened with it? But from what he's saying, they brought it to an evidence storage facility, and not anyone could just willy-nilly go into evidence in and out. So it's like inventory. There's digital access control. There's an alarm system. There are 2 other troopers that are designated as evidence officers, and if you want to go into evidence, you have to be with one of them, having them look over your shoulder. But how long did it take for them to get from the hospital and bring it to the evidence storage facilities?
2022.
Was he around Proctor the entire time also?
Who are the troopers within your office who did have access to that?
In January 2022, that would be Trooper Jeff Kukowski and Trooper David DeChico.
And that would be in addition to Lieutenant Tully, is that correct?
Detective Lieutenant Tully, I believe, has access to it, but I cannot speak to that. I just believe that he does, as a unit commander, to facilitate any next assignment.
What's the other guy's name? Kachiko?
And that would be in addition
DeKicho? DeKicho. Okay.
to Lieutenant Tully, is that correct?
Detective Lieutenant Tully, I believe, has access to it, but I cannot speak to that. I just believe that he does, as a unit commander, to facilitate any next assignment.
Now, with reference to any items that you were physically present for that were taken into custody or taken into evidence, including that clothing from the hospital on January 29th and any other items throughout the course of this investigation, when they were taped and sealed, what happened with each of those items once they were taken back to your office? Objection.
I'll allow it.
Tell us, yes.
Each item that was sealed, it was processed in, it was logged in, and then it was stored. After processing, it was stored in the evidence room.
Now, returning back to the Good Samaritan Hospital, within that hospital room, you made mention that you secured items and that you made observations of Mr. O'Keefe. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And can you describe for the jury, as far as Mr. O'Keefe's body, what were those observations that you made?
Mr. O'Keefe's body was laying on his back. The observations I made were of bruising to the eyelids of his face. Based on my experience and having cases with head trauma, I can tell you that during subdural hematoma,
Yeah, I'll sustain the objection. You can build a foundation if you can, Mr. Lally.
Over the course of...
Yeah, I know he wants to get ahead of the bruising and what that could be as a result of, but Mr. Lally didn't ask. And I don't know if Mr. Lally would ask because, he's not like a medical examiner or anything like that.
With this unit in particular, if you know about how many homicide or let me step into it this way. As far as your work within this unit, as far as it's concerned, what, if any, jurisdiction does the State Police Detective Unit of the District Attorney's Office have with reference to not only homicide but death investigations within Norfolk County?
by statute, Chapter 38, Section 4, each county, the district attorney's office is provided jurisdiction over all death investigations. As a result, the law enforcement entities that are assigned to that Norfolk.
Yeah, I haven't done research about I haven't done research about John O'Keefe's family members, so I don't know what they think about this. I don't know if they have spoken out publicly or have they just been quiet, kind of just observing on the sidelines. We've heard from Karen Reed. She did an interview. We heard from her parents, but yeah, I don't know if I've seen anything with the O'Keefe family.
Or that district attorney performed the investigations. In Norfolk County, those individuals are members of the Massachusetts State Police assigned to the State Police Detective Unit within our office.
And so as far as death investigations, what exactly or what type of investigations would that encompass?
Death investigations that we have jurisdiction over are all unattended deaths. Unattended death means that a physician, a doctor, is not overseeing the individual that passes. Those deaths would be suicides, homicides, overdose-type deaths, natural deaths, accidental deaths, and so forth. Any type of death that is not overseen by a doctor at a medical facility or in a hospice-type situation.
So as a result of your assignment to this unit and that sort of exclusivity of jurisdiction over unattended deaths within Norfolk County, if you know approximately how many death investigations have you been a part of over the course of your work with the state police detective?
Over the last 9 years, I would venture to say it's over 500 death investigations that I was a part of.
And Sergeant, over the course of your involvement within those investigations, if you know how many of those investigations involved some indication or some type of head trauma?
Scores of investigations that involved some sort of head trauma.
And through the course of your investigations, in those cases that have involved scores of head trauma, have you been privy to information as far as medical findings, autopsy reports, things of that nature in relation to those prior investigations?
Yes, sir, I have been.
Now, with regard to your observations of Mr. O'Keefe, with regard to his items, what if any observations did you make, and what if any? Well, let me start just with physical observations. What if any physical observations did you make of Mr. O'Keefe's face and body in general?
How come we haven't heard from the medical examiner yet? Is there like a scheduling conflict or what? Where's the medical examiner? Where's the medical examiner, the pathologist? Where are those people?
His face, I observed the swelling and the discoloration being produced through the blood pooling in the eyelids.
Yep, so just your observation, so the swelling and discoloration. I'll strike the remainder of what you've said.
I also observed a cut to his nostril and an eyelid, which was very small in size, which would have been produced by a...
Yeah, so we'll leave it at that. Next question, Mr. Lally.
Based on your training experience, what if any conclusions or what if any opinions that you have in regard to the swelling around the eyes?
Objection.
Yeah, I'll see you at sidebar.
Lolly, where's the medical examiner?
Yes.
So, Sergeant Bukenik, with reference to your...
Because it makes sense. He can't really say how he thinks this happened or like talk about, blood swelling and all that. He can observe what he saw like physically with his own two eyes, but not really get into it because he's not, he doesn't have a medical background, right?
Prior death investigations, have you had occasion to make observations of bodies that there was a later determination of some sort of subdural hemorrhage?
Objection.
I'll allow that. Have you made...
Wait, what? Wait, hold on. Subdermal hemorrhage?
Sure.
Yes.
So, Sergeant Bukenik, with reference to your prior death investigations, have you had occasion to make observations of bodies that there was a later determination of some sort of subdural hemorrhage?
Objection.
I'll allow that. Have you made those observations? Have you been part of those investigations?
Yes, Your Honor. Yes.
And what you observed in regard to Mr. O'Keefe, was that consistent or inconsistent with what you had observed on those prior investigations?
Objection.
That I'll allow.
It was consistent.
Now, in addition to the injuries that you observed to Mr. O'Keefe's face, what, if any, injuries did you observe to his extremities?
His extremities produced abrasions to his upper forearm and lower bicep area on his right arm.
And just as you use that term, I'm not asking for any sort of medical definition, but
I wonder if the jury is as confused as I am as to why the medical examiner weren't one of the first people to testify.
as far as you use that term abrasions, what do you understand that term?
I understand that term to be a injury sustained through blood force trauma or friction to the epidermis of the skin where a crushing of the vascular system occurs and produces that type of sign on the skin.
And from your observation of the injuries to Mr. O'Keefe's arm, which arm was this again?
It was his right arm.
And as far as your observation of those injuries to his right arm, what, if any, as far as the consistency of those injuries, what, if anything, did you note or observe in reference to those?
Consistency with what? With the...
Let me rephrase this.
Yeah.
How were the abrasions that you're describing positioned in relation to each other?
Each abrasion appeared to me to be linear and concentrated in a specific location on the arm. It didn't go any further north of a point and did not go any further south of a point. So it was concentrated in the elbow, a few inches below the elbow, a few inches above the elbow on the right arm.
Now, while you...
O'Keefe parents hate Karen. They're besties with the McCabe's. Oh, how do you know that? Have they spoken out or anything like that? I think someone did mention that they were possibly close with the McCabe's, but I don't remember what was the why for that.
You were at the Good Samaritan Hospital. Did you endeavor to speak with Ms. Reed?
We did attempt to, yes.
And was she present at the hospital at that time?
No, she was not.
And at some point subsequent to that, did you receive, or what, if any, information did you receive as to her whereabouts?
We were made aware that she was located at 345 Country Hill Drive in Dayton at her parents' home.
And where did you go from the Good Samaritan Hospital once you left them?
Oh, yeah. So I guess that is kind of weird. So Karen Reed, she was very distressed about John O'Keefe. I know that she was taken in for like a Section 12. She was at the same hospital. What time did she leave the hospital afterwards? Like, didn't she want to stick around you know, with John O'Keefe's body or something like that?
We proceeded to that
Or
location.
maybe she did, or I don't know. But he said that she wasn't there. So I don't know. Maybe after like the Section 12, she just like got the fuck out of there, or she did try to go visit John and say her goodbyes and stuff like that.
Now, sir, with reference to the items of clothing that you recovered from the Good Samaritan of Mr. O'Keefe's, do you have those items
What's
of
the
clothing?
address?
Good
345.
Samaritan Hospital. Once
At her parents' home. We were made aware that she was located at,
that, did you receive, or what, if any, information was present at the hospital at that time?
no, she was not.
And at some point subsequent to that, did you receive, or what, if any, information did you receive as to her whereabouts?
We should knew what time this was.
We were made aware that she was located at 345 Country Hill Drive in Dayton at her parents' home.
And where did you go from the Good Samaritan Hospital once you left from there?
Oh, there's a flood in Germany right now? Oh, no.
We proceeded to that location.
Now, sir, with reference to the items of clothing that you recovered from the Good Samaritan of Mr. O'Keefe's, do you have those items of clothing with you here today in court?
Yes, I do.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would ask that the witness be allowed to retrieve those items and display those items.
Okay, are they in the courtroom?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, yes,
May I approach?
yes.
I need to plot all these addresses. 345 Country Hill Drive. Dayton, Massachusetts.
How many items are we talking about? Okay. Jurors, if we go a little past 1, my intention would be to still just take a half-hour lunch today and come back, so I'd rather just go through this if we could.
Half-hour lunch? Oh my God. You're gonna shove that food in your mouth?
Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize that to be?
The sweatshirt from the hospital room where Mr. O'Keefe was located.
Okay, so we see the evidence tape. We see the bag.
Your Honor, I'll
iris.
seek to introduce and admit that as the next exhibit.
Okay, any objection, Mr. Jackson?
So we need to see what's in the bag. Before I can object, but I'm
So,
just not.
okay. All right, so you've received photos of all of this, right?
I assume what's in the bag is what's been photographed, but until I see it, I won't know.
All right, so let's go ahead and open it.
So, with the court's permission?
Yes.
And for reference, Mr. Jackson mentioned this yesterday. So Canton PD from Karen's parents' house, it is a 60. Wait, how many is it? 60-minute drive. I thought he said it was a 60 mile. It was 60 miles from each other. Love the Barney gloves. Is this the shirt that he was wearing? Or the hoodie / thin sweatshirt? Yeah.
No objection.
Dried blood.
So, Lally, why don't you come take the bag?
That item? There as well.
Yes.
Here's another bag. What is this? Oh, the t-shirt. The blood stains.
Right sneaker.
If you could return that to the back, please. I'll seek to introduce and admit.
Sneaker.
Your Honor,
Yes, I'm going to,
No objection.
thank you.
may I approach one last time?
Yes.
It's a bag containing a blue jeans, black belt, and plaid boxer shorts.
And,
Why were they all thrown in together?
Your Honor, with the court's permission, may the witness remove just the jeans and the belt from the back?
Yes.
Yeah, it makes sense because you don't want to be flashing his boxers out there. Jeans. The belt.
You can return that to the back, sir.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you. Third item, but it's going into evidence. Mark the bag, and it's going to be about half an hour.
All right, they're taking a little breaky. Let me use the restroom. Man, I really wish Lolly would be.
You are muted.
I wish it would be like. I wish it would be more. I wish it would just give us like really good timelines. Like what time were they at the hospital? What time were they at the McCabe's house? What time did they leave? When did she leave the hospital? These are things that I want to know. The bag contains another bag. Oh man, if the bag contained a red Solo cup.
Karen Reed, trial watchers. This
All right, they're taking a little break. Let me use the restroom really quick, and I'll be right back. Hey, Rushi. All right, y'all. Did you guys get up and stretch? Hi, Clown Baby. Hello. I know. I said that at the beginning of the stream. We might get, we might get flagged. Okay. All right. Hello, Jesse. They're gonna go for a quick little lunch breaky. Oh, hello? What the? No, what happened? Oh no, I pressed something weird. All right, we're catching up.
And this were placed inside the same evidence.
I don't know what I pressed.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant Bukenik, those items as far as the clothing items that you displayed for the jury just prior to the recess, those were the same clothing items that you recovered from the hospital room of the Good Samaritan on January 29th, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you had mentioned earlier in your testimony that those items had been placed into one bag initially. What, if anything, happened with those items as far as their keeping or their bagging once you got back to...
Why does his background look like a crime scene? Who? Jesse's? Did it look like a crime scene?
to the office or to your where the evidence room is?
Due to the condition of those items after they arrived at the office, the items were laid out on butcher's paper that we utilized for evidence viewing and allowed to dry naturally because they were soaking wet.
And as far as when they were done with that sort of drying process, how were they packaged from there?
They were packaged in the bags, sealed up.
Oh, sorry.
The items were
As they're keeping or they're bagging once you got back to the office or to your where the evidence room is?
due to the condition of those items after they arrived at the office, the items were laid out on butcher's paper that we utilized for evidence viewing and allowed to dry naturally because they were soaking wet.
And as far as when they were done with that sort of drying process, how were they packaged from there?
They were packaged in the bags, sealed up, and stored for transport and processing.
And so those would be bags individual for each clothing item, is that correct?
Each item, the way that it was packaged, the pants with the belt and the boxers, and then so on and so forth with the sweatshirt and sneakers.
And we'll get to this a little bit more in a moment, but at some point there were pieces of plastic, red and clear plastic, that were recovered by you and other troopers from Fairview Road, is that correct?
That's correct.
At any point in time, were pieces of clear and red plastic that were recovered from 34 Fairview Road ever placed inside the same evidence bag as any piece of clothing that you recovered?
No, absolutely not.
Now, with reference to the hospital of Good Samaritan, in addition to yourself and Trooper Proctor, were there other members of the state police or other units of the state police that arrived at the hospital at some point?
Yes, sir. Lieutenant Mello came to the hospital to document the victim and the clothing, and he's assigned to the State Police Crime Scene Services section.
Now, as far as the Crime Scene Services section, or CSSS, what, if any, role do they have with relation to your investigation in this case, or your investigations in general as far as documentation is concerned?
Crime Scene Services section assists us in documenting scenes through video and photographs. They also assist in collecting latent prints, fingerprints. They assist in collecting impressions, like foot impressions in mud or soil, and those types of missions.
Now, there are a number of different troopers that are assigned to that particular unit, is that correct?
That's correct.
And as far as over the course of this investigation, how many occasions approximately were there that a member of the crime scene services section responded to memorialize or photograph different scenes or different areas throughout the course of your investigation in this case?
Just off the top of my head, it would be 4, 5, maybe 6 instances where a trooper or sergeant from crime scene services responded to the scene to assist us in this investigation.
Now, at any point in time over the course of the investigation, when crime scene services troopers responded to document anything, was it ever the same trooper more than once?
No, it was not.
And so with regard to January 29th back at the Good Samaritan Hospital, there were Sergeant Mello arrived to document or photograph Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
That's correct.
And you want to approach the witness?
Yes.
So Sergeant Bukenik just placed 3 photographs before you. Do you recognize what's depicted in those 3 photographs?
I do.
And what do you recognize those to be?
That is Mr. John O'Keefe.
And what's contained within those photographs, is that a fair and accurate portrayal of what you saw of Mr. O'Keefe's body at the Good Samaritan Hospital on January 29th?
Yes, it is.
All right. Pleasant and maybe considered graphic photos. Sometimes evidence is presented that creates an emotional reaction in
Very
jurors.
good. She's giving the jury just a warning. They're about to show the pictures of John O'Keefe. I don't think they were showed to us, though.
Draw the jury's attention to what, if anything, of significance you observed in this particular photograph of Mr. O'Keefe.
I observed the swelling of the eyelids, slight laceration of the nostril and the eyelid, the blood pooling on the bed in that depiction of Mr. O'Keefe.
Ms. Yeoman, can I photograph 2857? Again, Sergeant, you recognize what's up on the screen and it's now marked as Exhibit 442.
I do.
And similar to the prior exhibit, if you could, using the laser pointer, direct the jury's attention to what, if anything, of significance you observed in this photograph.
I observed the parallel lacerations, abrasions and markings on the skin of Mr. O'Keefe, limited between that point there and that point there, as I described earlier in my testimony.
And Ms. Yeoman, if I could have 2859. Again, Sergeant, you recognize what's up on the screen and it's now marked as Exhibit 443.
I do.
And this is what you see in this photograph.
It's the same abrasions to Mr. O'Keefe's right arm, just further up on the bicep, tricep, shoulder area.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Yeoman, you can take that. Now, Sergeant, taking you back to January 29th, 2022, after you left the Good Samaritan Hospital, where did this from?
We went to 345 Country Hill Drive in Dayton.
And that was the residence of Ms. Reed's parents, is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, on your way from the Good Samaritan in Brockton to the residence in Dayton, what, if any, communication did either you or Trooper Proctor have with regard to the Dayton police?
I advised Trooper Proctor to contact Dayton Police Dispatch and advised them that we would be responding to the location, 345 Country Hill Drive, and seizing a vehicle. And we were requesting uniformed patrols to assist us in that mission.
And why was that request made of the local PD?
We were going into their jurisdiction. There was a blizzard going on. We were considerate of the circumstance and wanted to be courteous to the residents and not just show up without any uniform presence.
Is there any way to see what it looked like on the scene? It is out on the internet. I don't know. I think maybe it was the defense that put out the pictures of John O'Keefe out on the internet, or maybe someone else did. But it is out on the internet. It is in our. It might be in our Discord. I think someone may have posted in our Discord. At least the arms and then like the face.
We have never met the Reed family. They have never met us. And with the clothing that we were wearing, it would be difficult for them to see that we were law enforcement.
And so as you arrive in that area of the residence in Dayton, where did you position yourselves and when did you arrive in relation to the marked unit from Dayton?
We called them while we were still on the highway and gave them an approximate time of arrival. GPS was not accurate due to the conditions at the time on the roadways. Once we arrived to Dayton, I positioned my vehicle at the top of...
Oh, gosh. I mean, were they wearing body cam footage? I doubt it, but if we have body cam footage, it'd be really interesting to watch that.
Country Hill Drive, awaiting a marked...
I'm just saying doubt it because we haven't seen any body cam footage at all.
uniformed officer from Dayton to meet us there.
And if you know about how long approximately did it take you to get from Brockton to Dayton on that particular day?
From Proctor to Dayton, it took us about 45 minutes to an hour to travel that distance.
And if you know about what time was it that you arrived at the residence in Dayton?
Wait, why were they in Brockton again? Where the fuck is Brockton? Let's see. Brockton, Massachusetts. Is that where the state PD, is that where they're located? Brockton. Canton, Brockton. Okay. I don't know. It says Brockton generally around this area. This is where Canton PD is and where Canton in general is. Karen Reed's parents' house all the way down here in Dighton.
We arrived approximately on the street at 2:30 or so in the afternoon, and we waited for a significant amount of time for the uniform patrol to arrive.
Wait, 2:30? Hold on.
Why was that request made of the local people? Okay, so it was January 29th, 2022. After you left the Good Samaritan Hospital, where is it that you went?
We went to 345 Country Hill Drive in Dighton.
And that was the residence of Ms. Reed's parents, is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, on your way from the Good Samaritan in Brockton to the residence in Dighton, what, if any, communication did either you or Trooper Proctor have with regard to the Dighton police?
I advised Trooper Proctor to contact Dighton Police Dispatch and advised them that
What's
we would
in
be
Brockton?
responding
Wally, tell us what was in Brockton. Why are they in Brockton? Is that where they're located, the state police?
to the location, 345 Country Hill Drive, and seizing a vehicle. And we were requesting uniform patrols to assist us in that mission.
And why was that request made of the local PD?
We were going into their jurisdiction. There was a blizzard going on. We were considerate of the circumstance and wanted to be courteous to the Reed residents and not just show up without any uniform presence. We have never met the Reed family. They've never met us. And with the clothing that we were wearing, it would be difficult for them to see that we were law enforcement.
And so as you arrive in that area of the residence in Dighton, where did you position yourselves and when did you arrive in relation to the marked unit from Dighton?
We called them while we were still on the highway and gave them an approximate time of arrival. GPS was not accurate due to the conditions at the time on the roadways. Once we arrived to Dighton, I positioned my vehicle at the top of Country Hill Drive, awaiting a marked uniformed officer from Dighton to meet us there.
And if you know, about how long approximately did it take you to get from Brockton to Dighton on that particular day?
From Proctor to Dighton, it took us about 45 minutes to an hour.
Sorry, I thought I missed something, but I just feel like they just don't talk about it. They just don't address it. I'm like, okay, Brockton. What's in Brockton?
Travel that distance.
And if you know, about what time was it that you arrived at the residence in Dighton?
We arrived approximately on the street at 2:30 or so in the afternoon, and we waited for a significant amount of time for the uniform patrol to arrive.
And when the uniform patrol arrived, at some point did you learn the name of at least one of those officers that arrived at the residence with you?
At the time, I did, yes.
And was that an Officer Barrows?
Yes, it was.
And so when Officer Barrows arrived, where did you then proceed with Officer Barrows upon his arrival?
Well, the road was only plowed the width of one vehicle, so even though he and his partner were in a F-150 or 250 marked police cruiser, we could only travel in single line. We traveled up to the cul-de-sac, turned around and positioned our vehicles facing back out to the way that we entered the roadway, or that street. We parked on the roadway since the driveway was not plowed, and we waded through the snow to the front door of the residence.
When you say the driveway was not plowed or you waded through the snow, can you describe to the jury sort of the condition of the driveway as you made your way from the street to the house?
With the blowing winds and the drifting snow, there were locations along our walk to the property with snow varying from knee-high to up to my waist. For reference, I'm 6'1", so it was quite deep in some locations.
And as you made your way to the home, what, if anything, did you observe in the driveway?
As we walked up to the driveway in front of the garage, we observed a large Lexus black in color SUV bearing.
So he arrived at Dighton, waiting for the marked uniform officer around 2:30, but he said it took the officer some time to get there. So what time did the officer get there?
Massachusetts registration 3GC684.
And subsequently, did you come to find out whose vehicle that was?
Yes, once we queried the plate, we learned that the vehicle was registered to the defendant.
And as you're going by this vehicle, what, if any, observations did you make of the vehicle as you were walking past it toward the home?
I observed a damaged rear right taillight fixture on the vehicle. From my vantage point, I also told Trooper Proctor to approach the vehicle closer and confirm what I was seeing, which he did.
And as far as that damage to the right passenger taillight area, can you describe sort of what it was that you saw during that initial phase?
Absolutely. During the initial phase, I observed snow compacted and caked onto portions of the taillight casing. There were pieces missing, and I knew that because the left side taillight was intact.
And as you made your way past the vehicle to the home, at some point, are you greeted or do you meet someone in the area of the home?
Yes, once we walked up to the front door, I rang the doorbell, and Mr. Reed opened the front door with the glass storm door, unable to open due to the level of snow on the ground and on the front steps.
And so where were you directed to enter the home from?
Mr. Reed directed us to the garage door, at which point it opened up, and Trooper Proctor and I entered the garage. We were once again greeted by Mr. Reed and invited into the home.
And Officer Barrows, where did he remain when you and Trooper Proctor went in the home?
He remained outside with the vehicle. During our time in the home, Officer Barrows came in and asked what the plan was and offered to have DPW plow out the driveway because the tow truck was not able to maneuver into the driveway in order to retrieve that vehicle.
Now, as far as during any time that you were on scene or at this residence indictment, did you yourself or did you observe Trooper Proctor touch that vehicle at any point in any way while you were there?
No.
And did you observe Officer Barrows or any other personnel beyond the tow truck driver touch the vehicle in any way?
No.
And as far as the tow truck driver was concerned, did you observe that individual touch anywhere in the rear passenger side area of that vehicle at any time that you were there?
No.
When you proceed inside the home and when you get inside the home, where did you go and who, if anyone, did you speak?
We were directed by Mr. Reed to the living room where the defendant was seated on the couch. She had her laptop on her lap and her phone resting on the right armrest of the couch.
Now, in addition to the defendant and her father, who, if anyone else, was present when you talked to Ms. Reed?
The defendant's mother, Mrs. Reed, was also present in the home.
And the defendant's mother and the defendant's father, were they present throughout the course of your interview or your discussion with Ms. Reed?
Yes, they were.
And at any point in time, did you ask them to leave or anything like that?
I did not know.
Now, with respect to, can you describe sort of the demeanor or the tone of the conversation
Oh man, I wish we had body cam footage. Ugh.
that you had with Ms. Reed that afternoon?
Because I want to see what her demeanor was like.
It was polite, courteous. She had just went through a traumatic event, so we were considerate of her losing her boyfriend. And we had a normal tone conversation. We were in the information gathering, fact-finding portion of the investigation. We simply wanted to collect her recollection of events that she remembered.
And so throughout the course of this interview, how are you standing, are you seated, or how are you positioned in relation to Ms. Reed, and how is she positioned in relation to you?
She was sitting on the couch. We were standing across the room. I don't recall if there was a coffee table, but if there was a coffee table, we would be standing on the opposite side of that coffee table if there was one present. I do not remember if there was one present.
No, this is not the day after O'Keefe died. This is the day after, this is the same day that he passed away.
But that's the distance approximately from me to the
Or same day that he was found on the lawn.
defense table.
And if you could describe to the jury sort of how did that interview or how did that conversation begin? What was
Because it did strike me weird that Karen Reed and her father, I think, went back to John O'Keefe's house, grabbed all of her stuff after John was pronounced dead, took everything, and then left. That did strike me as a little bit weird.
what was it?
First things first, we introduce ourselves, advise the individual we're speaking with who we are, where we work, and what we're looking to find out.
Now, her being at her parents' house, that makes sense because she wants to be around people that she loves, people that are close to her. But to go to John's house and grab everything and to clear it, I don't know, that's a little weird to me.
The defendant was advised that we're looking to get a recollection of the events, what happened, what she observed, what she remembers from the night before, and to walk us through the last 24 hours or so of activity.
And prior to,
Do I need to give an instruction, Mr. Riley? I'm not sure exactly. Why don't I see counsel at sidebar for a minute?
Sidebar. We at the sidebar.
By the defendant, Karen Reed, allegedly concerning the crimes that are charged in this case. Before you may even consider any such statement as evidence, the Commonwealth must prove to you beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant made the statement that she's alleged to have made, and that she made it voluntarily, freely, and rationally. In determining whether any statement made by the defendant was voluntary or not, you may consider all the surrounding circumstances. These include when and where the statement was made, the nature of any conversations with the police or questioning by the police, and the defendant's physical and mental condition.
Oh, you're saying it's possible she could have just grabbed some stuff and then came back for the rest of the stuff later on?
Including her intelligence, age, education.
I have to go back to the testimony of the brother-in-law, because I think he was the one who testified about that.
Experience and personality. Your decision does not turn upon any one factor. You must consider the totality of the surrounding circumstances. I'll instruct you about this again at the end of the case, but for purposes of, as you hear the testimony, that's the lens that you have to sort of hear it through. All right, with that, Mr. Lally?
thank you. Now, Sergeant Bukenik, when you began to speak to the defendant, prior to any sort of substantive conversation, what, if any, conversation did you have with her about the conversation you were going to have?
I just asked her to recount any events and the history between the actions that were taking place.
And how did she initially respond to that?
She stated that she's willing to answer our questions. She just doesn't want to go into too much detail about what transpired. And given the circumstances that she had just lived through, I understood and gave her that courtesy.
And as far as that interview or that conversation went,
And given the circumstances, answer our questions. She just doesn't want to go into too much detail about what transpired. And given the circumstances that she had just lived through, I understood and gave her that courtesy.
and as far as that interview or that conversation went, can you describe that conversation or the contents of that conversation to the jury?
Absolutely. The conversation was normal tone of voice like I am speaking to you right now. Ms. Reed responded in the same tone of voice, answered questions. The content of the conversation began with her saying that As I stated, she doesn't want to go into too much detail, but she was willing to answer our questions. We asked what she had for plans, what she had for as far as activity the night before, leading up to Mr. O'Keefe being discovered. She stated that she was in a relationship with Mr. O'Keefe that morning, meaning the 28th of January. She got into a fight with Mr. O'Keefe over what the niece and nephew were being fed for breakfast, or what they had for breakfast. She went on to say that she met Mr. O'Keefe at C.F. McCarthy's approximately 9 p.m. the night of the 28th of January, 2022. She stated that the gentlemen were drinking, consuming beers, Bud Lights, and she was drinking vodka soda. Prior to moving on to the bar at Waterfall, the defendant was asked where she parked her vehicle. She told me that she parked her vehicle on Washington Street across the street from C.F. McCarthy's, facing northbound. So the vehicle was on the side of Waterfall Bar and Grill. We went on through the conversation, the interview, to the Waterfall restaurant, at which point she was asked if she left C.F. McCarthy's with a beverage or a container from that establishment, to which point she stated that she did not.
Oh, I wonder why they specifically asked that question. Was it because of the clear glass they found at the crime scene? They initially thought that could have been Karen Reed's glass? Because that's like a very specific question to ask.
She also confirmed that Mr. O'Keefe did not have any injuries on him when she interacted with him at C.F. McCarthy's or the Waterfall. He did not get into any verbal or physical altercations with anyone to have sustained those injuries. She stated that once at the Waterfall, they stayed for approximately...
Because Karen told him that she didn't leave McCarthy with the glass, but I think it was it one of the Kolakithas? One of the Kolakithas, and there was another one who was at the bar that testified. I think they said that like Karen kind of like giggled a little bit. It was like, oh, look what I kind of like smuggled into when she went into the Waterfall.
An hour hanging out with acquaintances. And then they left the Waterfall. She drove them to, after they were invited to a residence, she drove them to a location in Canton, where she dropped Mr. O'Keefe off. She was asked if she saw Mr. O'Keefe walk into the home at 34 Fairview, and she stated she did not. She stated that she made a three-point turn after dropping him off and left. She was asked whether or not Mr. O'Keefe, excuse me, let me back up. She was
the three-point turn. Because remember, Matt McCabe and, was it another guy that mentioned they saw like, Matt McCabe, Jen McCabe said they saw like marks on the road. And I think the state was trying to figure out, okay, did it look like a three-point turn or not? I forgot. Someone's trying to figure it out. And like Matt's like, I don't know what three-point turns look like. It's like, okay.
Asked if she knew how she found out about the damage to her vehicle, to which she stated, quote, I don't know. It happened last night. End quote.
Now, at some point earlier in the interview, what any indication did she give as to who Mr. O'Keefe was with?
Also, I want to know, did he take notes like contemporaneously, or did he take notes like after talking to Karen Reed? Oh, I want to see his fucking notes too. So like Karen Reed, I think Karen Reed told Carrie Roberts and Jen McCabe that like, oh, my taillight's broken, right? That was weird to me too, because why would she want to point out that her taillight was broken? If you just simply that morning, you're trying to like rush, get out of the house, you backed your car and you hit John O'Keefe's car, and then that's how you probably broke your taillight, and then you continued on. Why mention the taillight? Why mention the taillight at all? I thought it was a little bit weird too. And then how would she have known that the taillight? Because I'm assuming she knew that the taillight was broken when she backed up into the John's car, but why would that be something that she would need to point out to Karen? To Jen and Carrie, unless she was pointing it out to be like, oh, maybe I did accidentally hit him, right?
C.F. McCarthy's and sort of how long he had been with those respective people.
She indicated that Mr. O'Keefe was with Mr. Camarano, Kurt Roberts, at which point she was asked to provide contact information, meaning phone numbers for those individuals, at which time she picked up the phone on the right armrest of the couch, manipulated the device, entering a passcode.
They probably watched the security camera from the night at the Waterfall. I don't believe they went. No, they didn't. He would have mentioned that. So after he left the hospital, they went to, they drove by Brockton and then drove to Karen Reed's house. They haven't been to the Waterfall and got surveillance camera and footage or anything yet. My thing is they probably just asked about, oh, did you take the glass with you? Maybe because there was glass found at the scene and they thought maybe that's a cocktail glass.
And provided that phone number to Trooper Proctor and I.
Also, that was very specific too. So she put in her passcode in, and then gave the phone number and contacts of other people. Okay. I wonder if that's gonna be important later.
At any point in time in the conversation or interview you had with her, what, if anything, did the defendant say in regards to why she had not gone into the residence of Fairview Road herself?
The defendant stated that she was having stomach issues and did not want to enter the residence.
Now, what, if anything, did she tell you about the later on that morning of the 29th?
She stated that when she woke up, she began looking for Mr. O'Keefe. And when she found him in the snow, she began CPR on Mr. O'Keefe.
And what, if anything, did she say to you about
Oh, that's a huge time jump.
any observations she made of Mr. O'Keefe later on that morning as far as any injuries to Mr. O'Keefe?
The defendant stated that while she was performing CPR, Mr. O'Keefe had sustained injuries and was bleeding from the nose and the mouth.
And if you recall, what, if anything, did she say about Mr. O'Keefe's eyes at that time?
The defendant stated that Mr. O'Keefe's eyes were swollen.
Is that both eyes? Is that correct?
That's correct.
No, eyes plural.
Now, as the interview progressed, at some point, did you ask questions seeking further details?
Yes, I did.
And details about what specifically were you asking?
Once we got to the point in time where the defendant told me she did a three-point turn, I asked her to walk through step-by-step of her operating the vehicle and exactly what she did. Prior to that, I asked her, so she was asked to give a step-by-step recollection of how she, what she did in manipulating the vehicle and leaving the scene.
And at that point, was the interview terminated?
Yes, it was.
Now, once the interview concluded or was terminated, what, if anything, did you
Now, who terminated? Did Karen terminate it, or they're just like, okay, we got enough information from you?
do with reference to Ms. Reed's phone and the defendant's vehicle?
Once the interview was terminated, I advised Ms. Reed that her phone was going to be seized as evidence and her vehicle was going to be seized as evidence as well.
And did you subsequently seize both of those items, sir?
Yes, we did.
And similar to the clothing of Mr. O'Keefe, as far as evidence was concerned, was that packaged and taped and transported back to the office in a similar fashion?
The vehicle was transported via tow truck that was dispatched by Dighton PD on our request.
And so when you get back outside of the residence after the conclusion of your interview with the defendant, what, if anything, did you observe going on with regard to the driveway and or any other vehicles that weren't there when you went into the house?
During our interview, I glanced out the window and I saw flashing amber lights and a tow truck plowing the driveway. So the driveway was plowed and the tow truck was, plow truck was plowing the driveway, not the tow truck. And the tow truck was loading the vehicle onto the flatbed.
And at any point in time when you were outside of the residence, what, if any, observations did you make as far as cameras or anything like that on the exterior of the home?
Ooh, cameras. I like.
I did not see cameras on the exterior of the home at that point in time.
No?
Subsequent to that date, did you become aware that there were exterior cameras that record on the exterior of the home and that?
Subsequently, yes, we learned that there was video recording of the residence and the driveway.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
I'm showing you a disc. You recognize that?
Yeah, because there's a lot of like weird fucky stuff with some of the like the Albert family, the McCabe's. I'm trying to rely on people who are like neutral to all of this. Because I was like thinking, okay, well maybe we listen to the Alberts and we find that okay, they're like really credible. But I don't know, there's like some weird stuff going on. I need Mr. Lally to get experts to talk about these phone calls, these like search histories and stuff like that. And same with Jen McCabe. So I'm like, okay, well if we exclude the Alberts, the McCabe's, what can we get out of this from the other witnesses?
Yes.
And what do you recognize that to be?
I recognize it to be Dighton videos as it relates to the location.
But Carrie Roberts also said that, you know, Karen Reed was kind of like all over the place as well. And Carrie Roberts, I did find her to be credible.
And where the interview and the vehicle was seized from.
And what's contained on that, as far as the video is concerned, is that a fair and accurate portrayal of what you observed as far as the defendant's vehicle being loaded onto a tow truck?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. Can I continue on?
Yes.
I'll look to see if you introduce the residence.
Oh, they were able to get surveillance cameras from the parents?
Yes.
When did they get this?
Just coming up through it. Click on it and pause when it please.
I have my glasses on. What time is this?
You could fine.
Mr. Lally, you need to keep your voice up.
Yeah.
14:11.
Now, the Sergeant Bukenik, from this particular point of the video, do you recognize the vehicle that was just pulled into the driveway?
Yes, I do.
Is that the same driveway that you had walked up from the street to the house in Dighton on that morning?
Yes, it is.
As far as the vehicle is concerned, what do you recognize that vehicle to be?
That would be the Lexus SUV owned by the defendant, Bear, Massachusetts registration 3 GC 684.
How many you could press right from there?
Jesus, it went through the snow like it was nothing.
All right. 2 individuals just exited that vehicle. Is that correct, Sergeant?
That's correct.
Do you recognize who those individuals are as far as who they are and what part of the vehicle they exited from?
Yes, the passenger side exit was the defendant, and then the driver's side vehicle was Mr. Reed.
And the father, is that correct?
That's correct.
I'm just going to you explain this again. Now, Sergeant, toward the end of that video, did you observe the defendant and her father in any specific area in relation to that vehicle?
Yes, I observed the defendant and her father at the rear right taillight, gesturing or signaling towards the affected, damaged, and missing parts of the taillight.
Objection.
Signaling
In relation to
Wait.
the passenger.
Oh, I thought they were going to the back. Like me just like thinking like, oh, they probably just went back to the trunk to grab something. So it's possible if they were talking about it during the drive and it's like, here, let me show you, Dad, my broken taillight.
2 individuals just exited that vehicle. Is that correct,
I don't know. I need to see more.
Sergeant?
That's correct.
Do you recognize who those
Can they just play the video all the way?
individuals are as far as
And the driver.
Okay, it ends. Why does it end right there? Keep playing it. Ah, drives me crazy.
Now, Sergeant, toward the end of that video, did you observe the defendant and her father in any specific area in relation to that vehicle?
Yes, I observed the defendant and her father at the rear right taillight, gesturing or signaling towards the affected, damaged, and missing parts of the taillight.
Objection.
It's too much narrative.
I'll allow just the direction that they were signaling out.
Yeah.
Okay?
As far as that vehicle's position within the driveway, is that essentially the position that you observed it in when you and Trooper Proctor and Officer Barrows were walking up the driveways in the home?
Yes, it was.
And I'm just going to, if I got a second, of those videos. If you could pause there, please. Again, Sergeant Bukenik, if you could describe to the jury what you observed of significance within this particular video.
This video captures the vehicle being moved into position to be loaded up onto the flatbed for transport from the scene.
Gentlemen, if you could play for me.
Oh, we can see the taillight from here too. Maybe, maybe not. Ooh.
Pause right there. I just asked her to pause right there.
Yeah, you really have to keep your voice up.
Yes. Sergeant Bukenik, from this still image from this video, what, if anything, is significant you observed in relation to the vehicle at this time that is being loaded onto the
The rear taillight is illuminated. You could see a white light coming from that taillight
If you could, using that laser pointing out before you just direct the jury's attention to the specific area you're talking about.
right there.
Okay. Just going to if you could play this through.
Not gonna lie, I can barely see shit. Ah, I see it now. Okay, I see it now. Earlier, I was like, I can't really tell. It looks a little bit orange to me.
When you can take that down. Now, Sergeant Bukenik, as far as when you left the residence in Dayton, where is it that you went?
Can we turn the lights on, Mr. Lally?
Yes, my apologies.
Turn on the
Once we left the residence in Dayton, we proceeded following the tow truck back to the Canton Police Department.
And was there anywhere else that either you or the tow truck went between Dayton and the Canton Police Department?
No, sir.
And when you say we, it's yourself and Trooper Proctor, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, once you arrived at the Canton Police Department, where did the vehicle go?
The vehicle was unloaded and put into a heated sally port located at the Canton Police Department.
Oh, so the Sally port is heated.
And in reference to the Canton...
Remember, we're trying to figure out with a different witness, like, he was trying to ask, oh, the Sally port, how did it feel? Was it like warm? Was it like, did it feel like the outside? And she's like, I don't know. I have no idea.
Police Department and putting it in the Sally Port, why was it that it was taken to that location?
It's a
That's what I want to know. Why was it taken to Canton PD Sally Port? Why not State Police?
location that serves as a storage for a vehicle that would suffice for the size of the vehicle. The location is, as it related to the crime that took place was investigated, was in that town. So we utilized their facility. It was also a heated facility to help melt the snow that had been accumulating on the vehicle.
And at some point, well, as far as some point subsequent to this, did you learn that there are exterior cameras of the Canton Police Department as well as cameras within the Sally Port garage area?
Yes, I did.
And have you reviewed each of those respective cameras prior to your testimony here today?
Yes, I have.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Because maybe the state police facilities aren't big enough because like they handle like cases from like all over, right? Maybe they don't have enough room to keep all the cars if they were to be processed at their place. So they just do it at the facilities that where the crime happened, I guess.
Video.
You recognize that, sir?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize that to be?
The Canton Police Department driveway with video.
And what's contained on that is that fair and accurate portrayal of yourself in a tow truck pulling into the Canton Police Department driveway on that afternoon or early evening of January 29th.
Yes, it is.
Mayor Proctor?
Yes.
Almost you can introduce the minutes of that exhibit.
Yeah, just hold the
Okay.
Mike.
And just for reference points, in regard to this view of this camera, Sergeant, you're familiar with the Canton Police Station?
Yes, I am.
And so where is this camera view in relation to the Canton Police Department and the Sally Port Garage where the vehicle eventually goes?
This camera is capturing the driveway entrance to the Canton Police Department. As viewed from Washington Street, that driveway there is on the left side of the structure. The camera itself is pointing towards the entrance of
Hey, Richie.
the driveway to the Canton Police Department. As you can see, the brake light illuminated in the shot. That is a Canton Police cruiser sitting at the edge of the driveway right by Washington Street.
So for orientation purposes, as far as the tow truck and your vehicle, is that coming from the top of the screen to the bottom or the bottom to the top?
It's coming from the top left to the bottom right of the screen towards the rear.
Okay, so the vehicle gets on the flatbed around 4:12. We don't know how long it took for them to secure the vehicle and like to start moving. Because I could have sworn Jackson was trying to make it a point that, oh, there's like a chunk of time missing from when the car was taken from Karen Reed's parents' house to Canton PD. But I mean, this is, let me take away Brockton really quick. Let's take off Brockton. I mean, it seems like with no snow, wait, hold on. This is like traffic, right? Let's see. Assuming it's like, should we do weekend, I guess? Maybe weekend when there's like no traffic. Okay, let's do weekend with no traffic because I bet there's probably weren't a lot of cars out that day. But I mean, no traffic is about like 40, 50 minutes to an hour. And then with the snow conditions for the tow truck plowing the vehicle, I mean, they're not going to be driving 60 miles an hour. They're going to be driving a lot slower. And I don't know if they would even take the interstate. They might just take the local way to get there. But I could have sworn Jackson was trying to say there's like time that was unaccounted for. So let's say it takes 40 to 50 minutes. But I mean, again, it's like probably going slow. There's like snow on the ground. They're probably driving really slow to go from here to here. Is there really a chunk of time that's missing?
The building where the Sally Port is located.
Ms. Hillman, if you could.
Would help to know how fast a tow truck was driving then.
Pause there, Ms. Hillman.
Hey, there's a tow
As far as
truck
what's
coming
depicted
in.
this still shot in this video, Sergeant, what if anything do you observe?
That is the tow truck transporting the defendant's vehicle, arriving at Canton PD. My vehicle with Trooper Proctor inside, me operating.
Yeah, it would help to know on the home surveillance footage when the tow truck actually left the property.
Are following closely behind, as we did the entire way from Dayton all the way to Canton.
Ms. Hillman, if you could play that to the end.
That's them driving after the Ford F-150. The other car.
Sally Port Garage area, is that correct?
That's correct.
Within there?
As far as temperature, when the doors were open, that day it was freezing cold. It was, I believe, like 18 degrees with winds blowing. So inside the garage inside the Sally Port with the doors open, it was quite cold. Once the doors shut, the side
Garage, you know.
Let me take a picture of it actually. So where's the tow truck at? Mr. Tow Truck. Let's take a picture of you.
freezing cold, it was began to melt off of the vehicle.
And from the arrival of that vehicle into the Sally Port Garage area, are you aware or have you reviewed video in reference to that?
Yes, I did.
And Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Hey, Palermo.
My shortest friend.
Thank you so
Hi.
much for the 32 months. How are you? How's it been? Is this all to shut down the theory that the cops planted the brake light glass? Yeah, they're addressing it.
Showing you another disc, sir.
Kinda.
That's going to review that one until we finish.
Yeah, and I guess they're talking about like, oh, the Sally port being warm, possibly to address that maybe the hair that was found in the car, the glass pieces that were found in the bumper. It's possible maybe they were frozen onto the car because it was so cold outside. But then by the time they got to the Sally port, all that melted. I think that's what they're trying to get at.
And do you recognize that, sir?
Yes, I do.
Does that contain the video that you were just testifying about as far as the arrival of the vehicle at the Canton Police Department Sallyport garage?
I think
Yes,
that's
it
why
is.
they're emphasizing
May I
it.
approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm about to introduce in a minute. No objection, Your Honor. Now, Sergeant, before we get to that video, if I could just ask, if you know, approximately what time was it that you left Dighton following that tow truck back to the Canton Police Department?
We left Dighton approximately 4:15, 4:20, and we followed the vehicle back to Canton, arriving probably around 5:30 or so p.m.
Thank you, sir.
Oh, sorry, what did he say?
And we followed the vehicle back to Canton. Dighton,
What time was it that you left Dighton following that tow truck back to the Canton Police Department?
we left Dighton approximately 4:15, 4:20, and we followed the vehicle back to Canton, arriving probably around 5:30 or so p.m.
Thank you, sir.
I mean, why do we have 4:15 or 4:20 if we have camera footages on Karen Reed's house that could just give us the exact time of when they left Dighton?
And Your Honor, with the court's permission, if we could publish that video for the jury.
Okay.
All right, timestamps? I don't know what that says. Does that say 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock? What the heck does this say? 5 o'clock? Why did they use this color? I think it says 5:02 or 5:32. Oh my god. Remember, this is motion activated.
Ms. Kevin, if you could just pause there for a moment. Sergeant, direct your attention up to the video on the screen just for orientation purposes again. First of all, do you recognize what's depicted in this video?
Yes,
Wally, can you tell us what time it is because I can't see it?
What do you recognize it to be?
that is the Sallyport two-bay garage at Canton Police Department with the antique Canton Cruiser on the bottom of the screen and the open spot for a vehicle in the middle of the screen with the four-wheel drive all-terrain vehicle at the top.
Now, as far as, again, for orientation purposes, the driveway that the jury just witnessed in the prior exhibit, is that to the left of the screen, the right of the screen, or something else?
The driveway is to the right of the
I could barely understand, Lolly.
the right of the screen.
And this vehicle, the defendant vehicle, is sort of taken into the garage from the opposite side, or to the left of the screen, is that correct?
Correct.
Ms. Gilman, if you could, wait.
Your Honor, may we approach please?
Okay. Could you pause that, Ms. Gilman?
Oh, I'm getting hungry. What do you guys eat for lunch today?
The court, please.
Oh, let's take a little breaky.
Jim.
All right, little break. I wonder what Karen's saying. Jonah keeps mom's leaving. Okay, we're back, y'all. I can't see what time this is. Can y'all see what time this is? I can't see.
Your Honor, may I get just a little closer?
Sure. Can we turn out the lights, please, Dave? Thank you.
Oh wait, there's a timestamp down there. Does that correspond with, or does it not? Maybe it doesn't correspond. I don't know. There's a timestamp down here, but I don't know if it corresponds to the time when the car was brought in. I thought people were saying that there was no footage of Karen Reed's car arriving at the Sallyport, and that was sus. But we have the footage of the car pulling up right here. Or were they talking about something else? I mean, there's her car pulling up into the Sallyport. Am I misunderstanding it?
Your Honor, may I get just a little closer?
Sure. Can Can we turn out the lights, please?
Oh my God, and why is it so blurry?
Thank you.
Hi, Maureen. Is it a misunderstanding or is it lies? Because it doesn't make sense why lie about something like that when it can be disproven later, you know? Wait, where's the little timestamp go? No, law and crime, move your fucking banner away. Move your banner. Okay, I mean, the car arrives. $5:37. Probably took them a couple minutes to get it off the tow truck. Sorry, what does FKR stand for? KR is probably Karen Reed. What does the F stand for? Okay, there's a bunch of them there. Pushing out the snow. Jajangmyeon? Ooh, give me some jajangmyeon. That sounds good. With extra beef. Oh my God, this scared the shit out of me. I was like, what is this? I think it's a mannequin. I was like, why is there a kid in the selling port? Oh, FKR. Gotcha. I finished watching this. I won't spoil it for you, but Defense is a sidebar as they don't think they... wait. Defense had a sidebar as don't think they had this evidence. Hi, good guy. I want jajangmyeon now. I hate you, Moondog. Give me some fucking jajangmyeon. No, the mannequin's not on the code. The code is separate, but this scares the shit out of me. All right, so there's people there. I can't tell who's who. They're walking around. Okay, they're putting the crime scene tape, I think, right? All right, they're putting crime scene tape around it. I can't tell what time it is. May I forward this a little bit? I'm gonna do 2 times if that's cool with you guys. Oh no, not the mannequin! Why are we choking the mannequin over here? The mannequin gets the chokey. Oh, poor mannequin. Do they not have another mannequin to set up this corner? Poor mannequin. It's getting choked right now. Okay, well, that's a it's like, let's just pull the tape over the hood of the car. Maybe they'll come back with a broomstick or something. Okay.
Is that the end of it, Mr. Lally? Or
I believe so, yes.
is that the
Yeah,
end of
Mr. Lally, do something.
it, Ms. Gilman? Okay. All right, lights on, please, Dave. Thank you.
Sorry, I'm impatient. I'm so impatient
All
with Mr.
right,
Lally.
so I
It's
have a
hard.
copy of the printed docket on 424. Paper number 347 was the Commonwealth's Notice of Discovery XL. I just asked Mr. McDermott to print it for me. Our printer up here doesn't work. All right, so that was before we impaneled. That was...
Oh, yeah, because, okay, I mean, now that we learn that, let's say we don't trust the words. Okay, so the trooper said they arrived at Karen's parents' house at 2:11. 2:11. They sat around for a little bit waiting for law enforcement to... Wait, sorry, no, 2:11 is when Karen arrived at the house. Sorry. When did they arrive at the house? They arrived at the house at blah, 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 blah. Where is it? Oh, it says 2:30. Oh, okay, 2:30. So Karen arrived at the house at 2:11 with her dad. They walked towards the back, and I wish the rest of the video was played because it could look like they were looking at the taillight, or I was thinking maybe they were going back to open the trunk door. I don't know. We don't get to see the rest of the video, right? But the officer arrived at 2:30. But let's say if you don't trust what time the officer said he arrived at the house, right? We don't trust the 2:30 time. Well, let's say, you know, the officer, we saw on the security footage that the car was moving to a flatbed at 4:11 or 4:12. Yeah, at 4:12. What time did the CERT team arrive again? The CERT team. Because I think the other theory was that the troopers or Trooper Proctor went to Karen Reed's house, had possession of the car, took the taillight, went back to the crime scene and planted it in the snow. But I thought the CERT team were at the scene digging it out at like 4-ish, 5-ish. Ooh, do we have the time for that? What time did the CERT team arrive? Day 19. Day 19. CERT team. Let's see. He arrived on the scene at 4:56. 4:56, and Busole arrived 2 minutes before. So let's say 4:55, 4:54. So that would mean Proctor and the other dude would have to book it. They leave the place at 4:15 and then book it before the CERT teams arrive. So they would have to get there they would have to get from Karen Reed's family's house to 34 Fairview in 30 minutes and then plant all the taillight pieces in the snow. That's a bit of a time crunch. That's a time crunch. Because here's where Karen Reed's house is. And then, this is like assuming this is no traffic right here. No traffic, no snow conditions. It takes 40 to 50 minutes. That's a huge time crunch. Actually, hold on. Let me take out Canton Pete. Let's do 34 Fairview. 34 Fairview. Yeah, 40 to 55 minutes. And that's like on a good fucking day. I don't know. That's a time crunch. Unless if Proctor wasn't with Bukenik the entire time they were interviewing Karen, and Proctor's like, oh, you know what? Let me step out for a little bit and disappear for like a fucking hour, an hour and a half. I don't know. That's a time crunch.
Was the day, I believe, of the long motion eliminate trial. All right, so we'll take a 5-minute break, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Hey there, Karen Reed trial watchers. This is a law and crime legal alert. Google Incognito tracked users' browsing data without their knowledge. Yep, well, Mass Tort Alliance, one of our legal sponsors.
Oh, hello. Well, we don't know who those other 3 people were. The CERT team guy said he didn't know who they were. So maybe we can find out who they were. But even so, the CERT team, the time that they arrived, let's say you had 3 other people who were there, like the unknown people. I mean, they document what time they were finding these pieces. That's too much of a time crunch, in my opinion. I need to blow my nose real quick. Hold on a second, guys. Also, here's the thing. Hi, Kyra. How are you doing today? Here's the thing. If I was the jury, I don't have Google at the tip of my hands. I wouldn't be able to Google map where everything is. If I was the jury, I'd just be like, okay, cool. Now what? Now what? Maybe it took them 30 minutes to find the first piece of plastic. Local cops helped search, but it showed them arriving at the Canton Police Department at 5:30? So it would be like they would have to receive the car at 5:30, and then people at the police department would go from there and go to 34 Fairview. Like, now we're just including way too many people into this plot. You would have to assume that the tow driver was going to be complicit to stopping in the middle of nowhere to plant the glasses on there. And also Bukenik would have to be involved. And then 3 other, whoever those other 3 people were, if they were part of Canton PD. Now we're just involving way too many people. it was easier for me to process this when it was just like, okay, Proctor, Albert family. All right. But now if we're going to include like the tow driver, because I mean, I guess maybe we'll hear from the tow driver to see if like, oh, did y'all stop anywhere? Did you guys, you know, make any stops from Karen Reed's mom's house to Canton PD? So maybe we'll hear from them as well. I mean, we have like what, like 15, 20 other witnesses that the state wants to present.
Is actually helping users file for compensation due to issues surrounding Google users' privacy through their incognito browser. So if you've used
What time is it? I can't even see the time. It's blocked. I can't see the time.
Sergeant, I was following the video.
All right, so keep your voice up.
Sergeant Bukenik, with reference to any individuals you see in this video, do you recognize any of those individuals?
I can recognize Trooper Proctor and myself. Other than that, I don't remember exactly who else was present at.
I love the transition and the zooming in on the ceiling fan. Yeah, it's like a subtle advertisement for OnlyFans. Mm-hmm.
This moment in time.
If you could start using the laser pointer before you just direct your attention to where you observe yourself and where you observe Trooper Proctor.
That's Trooper Proctor and myself. Yeah.
At any point in time when you were present with this vehicle in the South Walker route,
Sorry, who's who?
before you just direct your attention to where you observe yourself and where you observe Trooper Proctor.
Yeah, Lolly ain't connecting it. I have Google to help me connect these things. So if Lolly doesn't connect it, then yeah, the jury's not going to know it. Fuck all. And if he's going to do it all in closing arguments, let's hope his closing argument's not going to be as hard to comprehend as his opening. His opening statement, I think, was very hard to kind of like grapple around initially because he drops so many names that he doesn't need to. So many people. It wasn't towards the end where I was like, oh, okay, I get what you're trying to get at, Lolly. All right, cool. But his, I think 75% of his opening statement was like too confusing for me.
That's Trooper Proctor and myself. Yeah.
At any point in time when
I have seen it. I have seen the footage of Karen Reed backing up and hitting John's car. And I did see his car did move. Now, what we talked about yesterday was I mentioned that, okay, well, let's say the taillight was broken when she backed up into John O'Keefe's car. That's possible. However, when the car was driving away, when I saw it, it looked like there was already red pieces missing from the taillight. And I was like, okay, well, maybe there's like, you know, pieces are on like where she hit John O'Keefe's car, but we don't really see anything there. It is hard to see, but I don't see any red pieces in the snow. Someone in the chat did mention that like, oh, it was probably pushed in. It's like, oh, it could be pushed in, but at the same time, you know, it seems like there's a hole there. Sorry, I have screenshots that we took because these discussions are very interesting. Let's see. Like, it's fun to be our little detectives, you know? Let me see if I can grab it. So yeah, I saw the footage of her backing up into John O'Keefe's car. Where is it? I think I took a screen grab of it. Did I not take a screen grab? I thought I did. Let's see when she was backing up. Huh? Where the fuck is it? Did I not take a screen grab of that? Oh no. I think we can grab it really quick. Hold on. Let me go into my YouTube history. YouTube's history. But it's also possible that she knew that her taillight was busted. Let's say in the realm of if she did hit John O'Keefe, it's possible that she's like, okay, fuck. And now I need to explain how this taillight got hit. And as she was backing up, she could have just carefully, just purposely backed into John O'Keefe's car. That's the other theory that I had in my mind as well.
The way they say that you can tell there's missing parts.
Okay, this is the part right here. So yeah, this, like, she definitely tapped his car. You could see that she tapped his car.
Victim's SUV, and the defense says that she makes contact, hits the victim's SUV right there.
Yep, you can see the car shakes a little bit.
Yeah.
Damaging that back right passenger side tail light. And they also claim you can see, you know, the victim's SUV move, indicating.
So, I mean, I know it's like snowing, it's kind of hard to see, but I don't see fragments of taillight pieces. And then my chat was like, oh, maybe it got pushed into the taillight.
That there was a collision, and then as she pulls away.
But like when you're looking here, there's no red. It's just white. It's just white. Oh,
They say that you can
Yeah, it's just like white right there.
the SUV move,
This is also not the greatest footage also.
indicating that there was a collision, and then as she pulls away,
Yeah, like this looks like what we saw when there was a welfare check. Where's the welfare check? Cases. Okay, so take a look at that, and then let me pull this up really quick. Oh, let me take a screen grab at this before I forget. Yeah, so she definitely does back up, and John O'Keefe's car does move. Sorry, I just want to take screen grabs of this really quick.
you know, the victim's SUV move, indicating that there was a collision, and then as she pulls away.
Yeah, it's like hard to see. This is the same one as what I had earlier. Let me just save it to be sure. Now, there was something that I wanted to, because someone in my chat did mention something about it looked like more taillight pieces were recovered than what was initially seen to be broken. I have not looked at a close-up comparison of that yet, so I do have that in mind. Okay, so this is what we saw in the welfare check. So look at the footage right here, right? This is the welfare check that was done. Let me see if I can adjust the size really quick. Ooh. This is the welfare check. So the welfare check, if you look closely, I mean, it looks like that white piece. See how it's like white right there? And it's supposed to be red right there? I mean, it looks like it's missing. And that seems to line up with what I see in over here. I don't know. That's just me. That to me looks the same. And then here's the picture at the Sally port. This is the picture at the Sally port. I mean, that looks the same to me. However, I don't have like the side view of this car. I don't have the side view, but we have this right here. So then when we look at this, this is, I think, after they remove the tail light. So I think maybe when my chat was trying to say that, I was like, oh, it looks like more is missing. I don't know. I still don't, I'm not really quite sure. Because it seems like this part was definitely missing in the footage and stuff like that. I'm not quite sure this part is supposed to be red, or maybe like as like they kept driving around, chunks were just falling off. That's possible, maybe. I don't know. All right, let's go back to the testimony.
We were present with this vehicle in the Southport garage this evening of January 29, 2022. Did either yourself or did you observe Proctor?
Oh, when her car is being towed? I do have a screen grab of that. Give me a second. It's in my downloads. Are you talking about this one? You're talking about this one, right? Like, I do see like the little bit of red right there, but then this white chunkling is still missing, which looks like what we saw in the John O'Keefe garage photo, the Sally Port photo, and then the welfare check. Hold on, I have another picture of that too. I have two pictures. Actually, no, they look the same. Yeah, here's the other one, where like that chunkling is missing. I don't know if at some point this chunk went missing, maybe, but it's kind of hard to tell with the angles.
They say that you can tell there's missing parts of the tail.
Oh, sorry. Let me read your guys'. Let's see. That's my theory as well. No, because her bumper sticks out too much to break the tail light. A close-up exactly the same as many other videos and photos. Well, closing arguments, he's supposed to be able to recap everything in a way that makes sense to the jury. I don't know if he's going to do that. The way that Lolly is doing this case is, I really don't like it. It's just white in the spot, like when Alan Jackson Cross, he made a point of it. Common sense, the white is the only thing missing, but somehow the rest of the tail light. Oh, you're talking about with this previous witness, right? I think it was Jackson who pointed that part out. Are you talking about with this witness? Which witness was that? Fuck, I don't remember which witness that was, but I do remember hearing that earlier. Thank you for looking up the pics. It's very helpful. I mean, yeah, because I think we're just all just trying to make sense of this, and I don't see how the jury can. I don't know. I don't know how they can process all this information. The reassembly picture from the witness. That's all that's important. It doesn't match. See that red part? It's the same. The red goes all along the left. Either the clear plastic above it, brake light cap. Because for the reassembly picture, which I think I have. Do I have the reassembly picture? Where is it? The reassembly. Oh, I don't think I have the reassembly picture. That was from earlier in trial, right? Yeah, that was from earlier in the day. I don't have the reassembly picture. Let me see if I can pull it up really quick. I think it was somewhere around here, right? Okay, so here are some pieces. Is this the reassembly photo? Oh no, this is the tail light that's broken, not the reassembly.
On the screen, which is now been marked as Exhibit 411.
I do.
And what do you recognize that to be?
That's the contents of item 3-1.
We found on February 3rd. List the law. Yes, I'm sorry. Noticeable.
Oh, here it is. Where'd it go? I lost it. Where'd it go?
Anything to do with that? Fair to get.
So,
By
I know
the
This is the reassembly photo, right? Okay, so this is the reassembly photo. And
are or what?
this is the part that you guys said that's not part of the reassembly. Right here. Let me pull up the other one. So what am I looking for, I guess? Okay, so this is the... Oh, God. What are we looking for? Okay, here it is. So this is the taillight piece, right? I'm going to cover my face right here. Okay, so this is... So the picture on the right is when they reassembled the taillight pieces back into the taillight housing they took out of the car. This is before they reassembled it, right? So it seems like they reassembled all this, right? Let me make sure. Should I make it bigger? Hold on a second. What am I looking for? Go. There we go. Make it bigger. Does that help? Okay. It cuts off a little bit. How about like that? There we go. Okay. Put on your glasses if you need them. So this one is before they reassembled it. Picture on the right, they reassembled it, right? They put all the red pieces back together. And I do remember Yannetti bringing up how there's this chunkling missing. But why is that important? This part over here. What's the connection with that? That part is where it should be clear plastic is also missing, right? That's what I'm thinking. Right here. This is clear plastic. And that's missing. Nicole says that's what I think she broke at John's. Hi, Harp. How are you doing today? There were 2 clear pieces found. Carrie and Jen described that as a cracked or a little hole. That's weird. Clear, not red. I think Jen, so they were like, oh, it's a crack. And she's like, well, she called it a crack, but I mean, I think it was like just semantics at that point. A crack, a break, a fragment, a chunkling missing. I forgot what Carrie said. I want to go back to Carrie's. They found 2 clear pieces in the snow after digging. She almost described the reassembly pick to a T, the white area missing. I have to go back to Carrie's testimony. I don't remember. I have to go back. But, I mean, it seems like they put the red pieces back together, and then there's like a chunkling of white piece that's like missing. But I don't know. I don't know like the mega significance of that. That piece is what Carrie Robertson was missing. Oh, that piece is what Carrie Robertson said was missing. Okay, I have to go back to Carrie's testimony. When I listened to Carrie's testimony, I think it was on my laptop, so my notes are on there. But I'll go back and see if I can pull it up while we listen to this then.
Touch or manipulate in any way the right rear passenger side area of that vehicle?
No, we did not.
Let's go and you can play them here.
So they're taking pictures of it. Does anyone remember what day Carrie Reed testified? Or Carrie Roberts, sorry. Oh, it's day 16. I found it.
She directed us.
Excuse me. Oh, you're trying to get a job as a paralegal? Nice, nice. Have fun working with all the attorneys. It seems like a headache.
Dr. Bukenik, from what you're observing in this video, what you've seen, or what you recall from this, what is it that you and Proctor and some of the other officers are doing now?
We're establishing a perimeter around the vehicle with yellow tape in order to prevent or alert and advise anyone in the area to stay away from the vehicle.
Wait, why is it weird that there was already snow on the ground? Another vehicle could have pulled up earlier and then was told to move because they need to make room for the Lexus SUV. All right, I'm going to go to Carrie Roberts' testimony. So let's see if we can find it. Tail light. Light?
You can take that down, Mr. Officer. We can have the lights back on. Now, Sergeant Bukenik, are you aware of a warrant that was executed on that vehicle on February 1st of 2022?
I am aware.
And you yourself were not present for that. Is that correct?
I was not present for the execution, no, sir.
Trooper Proctor was, as far as you're aware. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, the next time that you were within the Canton Police Department Sally Port garage with the vehicle was on February 2nd. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And on that day, where did the vehicle?
Oh, I found it. I found Carrie's testimony. Okay.
And Jen said, no, I saw you pull up to my sister's house. And then at some point in the conversation, she said, what about my taillight? What about my taillight? And I looked, and there was a piece missing, but it was caked on with snow. You could tell there was a little black hole, but there was snow like caked on it, and it was a blizzard at this point.
Is that the part of the testimony you guys are talking about? I need to pull up the light. I don't know. So this would have been what she should have sold, right? Like this. There's like snow caked into it, and she saw a little black hole. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that really tells me much. Yeah, I saw her moving like in a circular motion. I don't know. I don't know. It's not really giving me too much. All right, let's see if she talks about the taillight again. Taillight, let's see. Maybe there's more. What about my taillight? Oh, my taillight. Caked in. Lighting conditions. There's no light out yet. This one?
Which taillight that you're observing is damaged?
The right passenger.
And so from there, as far as Ms. McCabe's driveway, you make these observations. Where is it that you go from there?
Say it again?
So after you're making those observations and you're overhearing that conversation, or you're having that conversation over Bluetooth, where did the three of you go?
We went to Meadows, to John's house.
Let me see if I can find wire. Wires. I'm not getting anything for wire. Sticking out? Metal sticking out. Sticking out. Oh, okay. I got it. Found it. Oh, God. I love transcripts. So good.
Vehicle were you when you were making those observations?
Okay.
Now, with reference to those observations, or when you were looking at the rear passenger taillight area of Ms. Reed's vehicle, how close to the vehicle were you when you were making those observations?
Right in front of it. There was one piece, like a rectangle encapsulated.
Okay, rectangle. Let me pull up the taillight. So here's the taillight. You want to see her hands, right? It's probably important to see the hands. There we go.
Like whatever was broken, I remember there was one piece of metal sort of sticking out. So if it was an encasement for a light of some sort, I remember looking at it and the piece was sort of sticking out, and I thought someone's going to catch their sleeve on that or something.
And
I don't know. I don't know if that's a bingo to me. Like, yeah, it could be from the rectangle right here, but she could also consider this part as a rectangle. There's like snow caked around it. And then earlier she said like a black hole, but like where the hell would the black hole be? Right? Oh, sorry. Let me move back. Where would the black hole be? I don't know. Like, I feel like the rectangle could be here. The rectangle could be here. The black hole could be here. The black hole could be here. There was snow also caked on it. I don't know. That's like okay. It's interesting, but not really quite sure. I don't know. I'm not convinced, I guess. Like, okay, maybe. Oops, sorry. Let me get out of here. Where are we at now? Here? Are we here?
we'll go from the police station.
From the Canton Police Station.
The metal, oh, sorry, I missed the metal part. The metal bit sticking out. Where the fuck is the metal bit sticking out? She said that it was like a piece missing that someone could get caught on. The metal bit sticking out, that long strip of metal. I just feel like I need more pictures of this, like more side pictures of this. Because I don't know if this piece right here is flush with the car or if this piece is sticking out. I don't know if this metal piece right here is what's sticking out. Because I think she could refer to this piece or this piece right here. But this piece, I would need a better rotated view to see if this part is the one that was sticking out. So I think it's possible Carrie Roberts could be talking about this piece here or this piece here. To me, it's a little too vague. And I would just have to put it to I don't fucking know territory. With the reconstructed light, I have the reconstructed light. Give me a second. It matches perfectly with a reconstructed light. I get what you mean. Let me see. Because in the reconstructed light, the white portion was missing. Karen Reed. Reconstructed light. Where did I save the reconstructed light? Did I not save it on my computer? Hold on, I don't know where it is. But I get what you mean. I think it could match with a reconstructed light, but at the same time, when she's talking about rectangles and like black holes, I'm not too sure where in the headlight it could be. I feel like it could be where that clear piece is missing, but it could also be adjacent to it where that red piece looks like it was missing. I thought I took a picture of it. Reconstructed. Or I might have her testimony up. Oh, sorry. This is the reconstructed one, right? Sorry. Let me take a picture of this before I forget. Yeah, I can't say I'm confident either way. All right, I saved this. All right, let's go back to the Sally Port.
I escorted the vehicle to the Milton Barracks for safekeeping.
And why was it taken from the Canton Police Station on February 2nd to the Milton Police Barracks? What had occurred in the intervening part between January 29th and February 2nd?
The Canton Police Department had recused themselves from interviews and in that portion of the investigation. And now that the vehicle had been processed, we needed to free up the Canton Sally Port so they can utilize that facility for transporting prisoners to.
How would I even word the poll? I don't even know how to even ask that. Remember, it's covered in snow with Robert's testimony. Yeah, because I think she said it was caked in snow, and then someone else also said that it was caked in snow, but I forgot who said that. It was like law enforcement or someone else also mentioned it being caked in the snow. I think there was like maybe two other people said that. That's why I'm like, like, I don't know. It's kind of just like in the, I don't really fucking know territory. Hi, lady. Oh, you're making sausage for dinner? I'm coming over. I'm hungry. I'm so hungry. Wait, are you making like legit sausages? Like grounding the meat and then putting it in the little sausage sleeves and all that stuff?
Their facility and booking. So we stored the now processed vehicle back at the Milton Barracks in a unheated garage.
Sorry, let me go back.
Within the Canton Police Department Sally Port garage with the vehicle was on February 2nd. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And on that day, where did the vehicle go from the police station?
From the Canton Police Station, I escorted the vehicle to the Milton Barracks for safekeeping.
Let me go back. All right, let me go back to my notes. Where are my notes?
You can take that down, Mr. Officer. We can have the lights back on. Now, Sergeant Bukenik, are you aware of a warrant that was executed on that vehicle on February 1st of 2022?
I am aware.
And you yourself were not present for that? Is that correct?
I was not present for the execution, no, sir.
Trooper Proctor was, as far as you're aware. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, the next time that you were within the Canton Police Department Sally Port garage with the vehicle was on February 2nd. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And on that day, where did the vehicle go from?
Is she innocent? We're on day 20, and there's a lot of confusion. Day 20, lots of confusion. We've had like 50 witnesses testify so far. I don't know. Like I said, maybe there's a scheduling conflict, and maybe there were certain witnesses that couldn't testify in the beginning of the trial because it would make sense to have like the medical examiner testify first. I don't know. Maybe talk about the receipts at the bar. Maybe talk about, I don't know, like the glassware. Like I know we're getting to it now, but it's like day 20. But maybe Mr. Lally will end with a banger. Maybe he won't.
The police station.
From the Canton Police Station, I escorted the vehicle to the Milton Barracks for safekeeping.
And why was it taken from the Canton Police Station on February 2nd to the Milton Police Barracks? What had occurred in the intervening part between January 29th and February 2nd?
The Canton Police Department had recused themselves from interviews and in that portion of the investigation. And now that the vehicle had been processed, we needed to free up the Canton Sally Port so they can utilize that facility for transporting prisoners to their facility and booking. So we stored the now processed vehicle back at the Milton Barracks in a unheated garage.
And, Your Honor, if with the court's permission, if I could publish just a very brief portion of what's been marked as Exhibit 34,
Okay.
Which is the Canton Police Department Sally Port's garage camera.
Okay.
And that's going, what you have up there, sorry, February 2nd, 2022, approximately 8:09 a.m. I'm just going to ask you to play that.
It's mirrored. It could be, right? Because police right here is like backwards. Before is backwards. Yeah, it could be mirrored. That would make sense. So you're saying it's mirrored. What looks like the passenger side is actually the driver's side. Does Lolly mention this, whether or not it's mirrored or not? Does he go over this? It's not. There are 2 video cameras and 2 opposite entries to the Sally Port. Driver's side is facing us. Yeah, so if the driver's side is facing us, then... I'm getting confused.
You can take that down, Mr. Officer. We can have the lights back on.
Oh, wait. Sorry. We do have a footage of them pulling the car in, right? So we're doing a lot of side quests right now. And I think they're interesting. Where are we at? 123. Let's see.
Garage at Canton Police Department with vehicle.
I'm enjoying these side quests. Oh, is this after the break? Oh, yeah. I didn't even think about that. That's driver's side. Oh my god, that's so confusing. That's so confusing. Wait, no. Because in America, driver is on the this side right here, not this side. We drive on the right side of the road. Hey, Kat, how are you doing today? Well, sorry, so because there's snow here and there's like snow over here. I'm assuming there's other vehicles that pulled in here and that brought the snow in. I don't know, having snow in here is like a big deal to me. And then this right here, is that also the other side? Like this is like a entrance and this is also another entrance right here. Yeah, if you're in the car, we drive on... Sorry, if you're in the car, like facing the windshield, we're on the left side. Driver's on the left side. But for other countries, if you're in the car, the driver's side is on the right side.
And Mr.
Oh shit, where are we at now?
And
123.
from the interviews that are conducted.
Okay, so this is them. We already saw this part.
was executed on that vehicle. The next time that you,
The vehicle to the Canton Police reporting.
if with the court's permission, if I could publish just a very brief portion of what's been marked as Exhibit 34,
Okay.
which is the Canton Police Department Sally Port's garage camera.
Okay.
I mean, it seems like the snow was just brought in and then it just didn't have a chance to melt yet. I don't know.
And that was going, what you have up there, sorry, February 2nd, 2022,
The
approximately.
snow doesn't bother me.
The voting had recused themselves from
With the vehicle was on February 2nd.
Sorry, let me go back. Okay, so we're here. I'm trying to find my place.
Of a warrant
Okay,
was
no more side quests. Let's focus. Hi, Ink. How are you doing today?
executed on that vehicle on February 1st of 2022.
I am aware.
And you yourself were not present for that, is that correct?
I was not present for the execution, no, sir.
Trooper Proctor was, as far as you're aware, is that correct?
That's correct.
Ooh,
Now, the next time
search
that
warrant.
you were within the Canton Police Department Sally Port garage with the vehicle was on February 2nd, is that correct?
That's correct.
And on that day, where did the vehicle go from the police station?
From the Canton Police Station, I escorted the vehicle to the Milton Barracks for safekeeping.
Milton
And why
Barracks?
was it taken from the Canton Police Station on February 2nd to the Milton Police Barracks? What had occurred in the intervening part between January 29th and February 2nd?
The Canton Police Department had recused themselves from interviews and in that portion of the investigation. And now that the vehicle had been processed, we needed to free up the Canton Sally Port so they can utilize that facility for transporting prisoners to their
It's all good, Maureen. Yeah, so where we're at in America, we drive on the left side. If you're in the car, if you're in the driver's seat, we're on the left side.
facility and booking. So we stored the now processed vehicle back at the Milton Barracks in a unheated garage.
And, Your Honor, if with the court's permission, if I could publish just a very brief portion of what's been marked as Exhibit 34,
Okay.
which is the Canton Police Department Sally Port's garage, February 2nd, 2022, approximately 8:09 a.m. I'm just going to ask you to play that through till about
Did they ever find out the identity of the 3 other people that were searching the lawn with the CERT team?
8:10:26.
Or do we not know yet in the trial? The hell was this footage? Oh gosh. 2/2. Okay, February 2nd, 8:08 a.m. Exhibits 8:08 a.m. 2/2/2022. Hello? YouTube's not happy right now. YouTube's like, the stream ended. Stop trying to watch the stream. Hello? No? Oh god, this is so annoying.
The tail light, if I can call it that.
We're not even here.
Which certain of those that
It's myself and then another
go from the police station.
from the Canton Police Station. I escorted the vehicle to the Milton Barracks for safekeeping.
And why was it taken from the Canton Police Station on February 2nd to the Milton Police Barracks? What had occurred in the intervening part between January 29th and February 2nd?
The Canton Police Department had recused themselves from interviews and in that portion of the investigation. And now that the vehicle had been processed, we needed to free up the Canton Sally Port so they can utilize that facility for transporting prisoners to their facility and booking. So we stored the now processed vehicle back at the Milton Barracks in a unheated garage.
And, Your Honor, if with the court's permission, if I could publish just a very brief portion. Camera 2nd, 2022, approximately 8:09 a.m. I'm just going to ask you to play that through till about 8:10:26.
So this is the Milton Barracks Sally Port?
Sergeant, just for orientation purposes, again, this is another camera from within the same Sally Port garage, is that correct?
That's correct. It's the opposite view from what we just viewed in the previous video.
And as far as any of the people in this video, do you recognize any of the individuals in there?
I believe that's myself and then another officer. I don't know who that other officer is.
And just again, using the laser pointer, if you could, direct your attention to where you see yourself. as far as the condition of the vehicle from January 29th when you saw it on that day to February 2nd when you saw it on that day, as far as the exterior of the vehicle, what if anything was different, or what if anything you noted or observed?
I noted the taillight removed and the evidence collected.
As far as the snow and cake on ice that you observed on that prior day, was that still present on February 2nd?
No, that had melted away.
And I'm just going to put it again. I'm sorry, just wait through the 8:10:26.
Hey, what's up, Storm? How are you doing today? I didn't see the picture, but I mean, she could have just genuinely just looked evil. I think it's when you start nitpicking on like special, like certain features, like, oh, the eyes, the nose, like teeth and stuff like that. Well, actually, no, teeth you can fix, so I don't know about teeth.
Thank you, Ms. Cohen. And you can take that down. And Mr. Officer, we can have the lights back on. Thank you. Now, Sergeant Bukenik, with regard to Mr. O'Keefe's house at 1 Meadows
Now
Avenue
what?
in Cary, at some point did you become aware throughout the course of your investigation that there were exterior cameras affixed to that residence as well?
Yes, I did.
And those were Ring cameras, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, with respect to
Oh, we have Ring cameras. From where?
investigation, what, if any, steps were taken in order to secure any of that footage from the exterior of the house?
It was a long crime thumbnail. Oh, I didn't see it. I already paid attention to it.
No, I'll allow it.
We applied for multiple search warrants.
All right, I'll see you at sidebar on this.
Concerns, how is it that members of your unit sort of work through an investigation or work on a case?
We,
Objection, Your Honor.
No, I'm going to allow that.
as a case comes in, we address each case on an individual basis based on the evidence that is presented through testimony and physical evidence that is recovered. That is what guides our investigations, and we then develop leads and process information collected. Sometimes information needs to be collected from third-party holders of data or service providers, at which point to access that data, we apply for search warrants, which are guided.
Okay, so leave it, move on from that. So you apply for search warrants, we'll move on from that.
I mean, the state should be done soon, hopefully, maybe another week or so. And then defense said that they can do it in 4 days, do their side.
So, Sergeant, my question is more geared toward as far as individual personnel within your unit. How is it is an investigation conducted as far as one trooper does everything, or is it a collaborative effort, or how is that?
The reason I say we is because every investigation takes the entire unit typically to put an effort in to conduct interviews, analysis, and so forth. So it's a team effort each and every time. No investigation is a one-man show. That's why we call it a case officer, not a lead investigator, because the case officer organizes the individuals to assign different tasks and collect and organize the data that comes back from the third-party providers and from the interviews that are conducted.
As far as the interviews that are conducted through the course of this or any other investigation, is there ever an interview that's conducted just by one trooper or one person in any investigation that you've done with this unit?
It is no. We conduct interviews with two people, whether it's a trooper and a local detective, or two troopers assigned to our office, other state police agent unit within the agency.
Now, as far as the case officer, who was the case officer on this particular investigation?
The case officer in this investigation was Trooper Michael Proctor.
And Trooper Proctor works under your supervision, is that correct?
That's correct.
So, as far as a search warrant for the Ring video from 1 Meadows Avenue, who specifically sat down, put pen and paper, and wrote the search?
Trooper Proctor was the affiant.
And as far as from that search warrant, are you aware of the materials that were provided by Ring in response to that search warrant?
Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
I am aware of it.
And have you reviewed both the material as well as the videos that were provided by Ring in response to that search warrant?
I did.
Now, with reference to those, videos, specifically, did you observe a?
Do we even know if the hair was positive for it being John's hair? Or do we not get there yet?
With respect to those videos, how were they sort of ordered sequentially in the manner in which they were provided as far as date, time, things of that nature?
Ask it differently. Ask it differently, Mr. Lally.
So the videos that you received from Ring that you reviewed, correct?
Yes, I did.
Objection.
No, I'll allow that. So he's reviewed videos from Ring. Next question.
What, if any, information did they contain as far as date or time?
When the hair you put in the shower wall dries and it sticks there to take effort to get it off, no. know. Sometimes it does for me, actually. Maybe it depends on like the type of water. Sometimes it does for me.
The data provided back
Not there yet? Okay.
from Ring provided videos. There was no date and time on the labeling of the identifier, unique identifier for each video, but it was presented in a sequential order, knowing that the last video presented from the provider was the last video within the scope of our request, and the first one being the first in that timeline.
In the scope of your request, the scope of the request of the warrant, what time frame are we talking?
Oh, there was arguments pre-trial about the hair. I kind of want to watch all the pre-trial stuff now.
I'll allow that.
The first warrant we requested from January 24th at midnight through January 30th at midnight.
And
Wait, January 24th or 29th?
January 30th at midnight.
And with respect to those videos that were provided, you reviewed each of those, is that correct?
That's correct.
And Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would ask to publish certain of those videos for the this time.
So are these, why don't we come to sidebar?
Got the sidebar.
Exhibit 6, first video, 119. If you could pause there, Ms. Gilman. Now, with reference to this particular video, number 119 in Exhibit 6, Sergeant,
Where are the timestamps?
what, if anything, can you tell the jury as far as the timing of this particular video?
Based on the appearance of the driveway, we know that this recording took place prior to the blizzard of January 29th.
Okay.
And as far as anything that you observed in this video, as far as vehicles or people within those vehicles, what, if anything, did you observe within this video?
I observed Mr. O'Keefe's car parked in the same location as he typically parked it, and then
Objection.
I'll strike the as he typically parks.
and then a black SUV parked perpendicularly to Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle, adjacent to the entryway to the garage.
Is going to be addressed right now.
Yeah, it kind of looked like a cat hair or something. Cat hair or dog hair. It was like super short, and wasn't it like kind of like whitish?
Ms. Gilman, if you could pause it. At some point in the course of your viewing of this video and the video surrounding it, do you be able to identify the operator of the vehicle, black SUV?
Yes, that is the defendant operating her black and colorless Lexus SUV bearing Massachusetts plate 3 GC 684.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could play.
Are they, this is me speculating and kind of just getting ahead of myself. They're trying to say that Karen doesn't normally park into the garage. She normally parks outside of the garage, and that her parking in the garage that day was weird. Is that what they're trying to get at? Because an explanation for that could just be like, oh, she parked in the garage because it was snowing. I'm just getting ahead of myself. It's fun.
Now, Sergeant Bukenik, are you also aware from your review of the Ring videos from One Meadows Ave, another video depicting the defendant leaving the house sometime shortly after 5 a.m. on January 29th?
Yes, I am.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could also from Exhibit 6 ask for, video 153.
Oh, sorry. They asked for a warrant, but it was for the time frame of January 29th to 30. I think that's what he meant. Or sorry, 24 to 2030. I think that's what he meant. The time frame for the Ring camera.
If you can just pause there for a moment. Now, Sergeant, with reference to this video and the one just previously from 119, where is Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle parked in relation to?
Do we know if this Ring camera that John O'Keefe has, is it motion activated? I don't remember if they mentioned that early in the trial or not.
This video, vis-a-vis the other.
The vehicle's parked in the back corner of the driveway along the fence in the same location as it's parked in the previous video.
At some point, do you see the defendant's vehicle back out of the garage in the same directionality that it did in the prior video 119?
Yes, you do.
Is that Ms. Gilman, if you could address? Pause there for a second. Now, as far as the operator of that vehicle, are you able to observe who that operator is within that vehicle?
I observed the vehicle being operated. I cannot identify who the individual is, and then from that shot right there.
From at any point in the shot of the video that you observed, are we able to recognize the operator of the vehicle?
Not from that shot, no.
Now, with respect to the timing of this video, what time in the morning is this video?
The timing of this video is approximately 5:07 a.m. when the defendant left the home through the garage via her vehicle.
Ms. Gilman, if you could play through that. Now, from this particular pause portion of the video.
Now, Lally has to point out that like the car did like jiggle a little bit. I know he wants to point out that there's a taillight piece missing right there, but he needs to talk about this part being jiggled as well. Because the defense if defense is the first to introduce that, then that wouldn't be good.
Video, Sergeant, what, if anything, significance do you observe within the still shot of this portion of the video 153?
The portion of this video in the still shot presented identifies a missing, damaged rear right taillight, exposing the white light coming from the right side of that taillight.
And if you could, using the laser pointer, before you draw the attention to what you're talking about as far as that area of the defense vehicle. Now, earlier in that video, did you observe the defense vehicle coming close to or coming into contact?
Oh, is Lolly going to talk about it? Is he going to get ahead of it?
With Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle?
Yes, I did.
And as far as Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle, at least from this video, what, if any, damage did you observe to Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle?
No damage.
And as far as the ground area around where Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle is parked, specifically the rear of that vehicle, what, if any, red pieces or anything did you observe on the ground around Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle?
Nothing was observed.
It's going to be the rest of it.
If the red right, or if the right tail light had been all broken out, you would not have seen all the red shining on Snow and John's car. I mean, you could see it right here as she's pulling, as she's braking, as she's turning. So, I mean, there is a good amount of red still on there. There's a good amount of red right here, and there's a good amount of red right here. It's this part right here that's all clear. That part right there. But I mean, like we said, you know, like there's no taillight pieces right here. That's what Mr. Lolly pointed out. Right rear, thank you. Oh wait, there's law enforcement right there. Their lights on.
And Ms. Gilman, from Exhibit 6, if I could have video number 165. Pause there, please. And Sergeant, have you reviewed this video as well?
Yes, I have.
And
oh, true, Nicole.
when time-wise, in relation to January 29th, approximately is this video?
It's approximately like 12:30 in the afternoon.
And as far as the vehicles in the foreground area from this particular camera shot, you know whose vehicles those are?
Yes. The vehicle in the top left corner is Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle. Vehicle in the middle left is the defendant's vehicle. And I do not know who the other two vehicles are.
I was going to the press light.
It matches the reassembly picture perfectly, in my opinion. Then wouldn't that corroborate with what the state is saying then? If what it looked like when she backed out of the garage looks the same as a reassembly picture, wouldn't that just be the same thing as what the state was saying? It would look like the headlight or the tail light, all white light. If it would look like a tail light, all white light. Is that what you're trying to say? Hold on. So there's so many errors in there. If it had been completely broken down as the prosecution displayed, I don't know. To me, it looks the same. The footage we just saw just now looks like what we saw in the Sally Port. Looks like what we saw in the welfare check. And it looks like the reassembly picture. Yeah, it looks like the reassembly. Yeah.
From the two individuals exiting from that vehicle, do you recognize who those individuals are?
Yes, I do.
I completely agree, Maureen. It looks to me, it all looks the same. Now we don't know what happened to that clear piece that's missing. We don't know where it is. Maybe they never recovered that.
Just using the laser pointer, direct jury's attention to whom you recognize and identify who that person is.
That there is the defendant, and that there is Mr. Reed.
Again, Mr. the defendant's father, is that correct?
That's correct.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could press play.
So this is when Karen and her dad comes over to the house to grab some stuff. I don't have any timestamps. That sucks. Maybe the timestamp is blocked by the banner at the bottom. Oh, just kidding. No timestamp. Boo!
Thank you. Ms. Gilman, if you could...
Oh, I don't know. I saw her went into the driver, but I couldn't see what she was grabbing. I can't see. I mean, I can't see.
Thank you. Ms. Gilman, if you could pull up video 166 from the same Exhibit 6.
Yeah, that could make sense. Bobby says, if only the clear piece is missing the reconstruction, that would be the piece by John's car, hence wouldn't it be seen in the video. That could make sense. But I think it can go both ways.
Ms. Gilman, if you can pause there just for a moment. Sergeant, you recognize the person that just exited from that vehicle and behind the defendant's vehicle?
Yes, I do.
Who do you recognize that to be?
As a defendant's brother.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could press play.
Let me pull up the... I guess I kind of wish when she reconstructed it, I wish she reconstructed without putting it back on the taillight first. Let me pull this apart up. Okay, so this is before she constructed it. This is before, this is afterwards, right? This right here looks like what I saw in all the footages that we talked about earlier. It looks exactly what we saw. But I wish they can grab this and then pull it up next to the car. Maybe that would make more sense to see it like visually as a whole. So here's before, right? So here's where the car is. Yeah, so they grab this piece out. Hold on, let me pull up the other picture. Let's clarify this. Miss Karen Reed, where are your pictures? Hold on, give me a second. Let me find the picture. So we have that, and then we have Mr. Lawley. Okay. Not that one. Give me a second, guys. I'm pulling the pictures up. But I mean, also have to remember the jury, they cannot look at these. I don't know if they're going to really be able to like look at these pictures like super close up. Maybe they can in deliberation. Did I not take a screen grab? Oh, here it is. A little bit blurry. Are we just confusing ourselves, you think? Okay. Here, okay. This is the reconstruction on the left side, all right? This is Karen's Reed car. So they grab this portion, right? This is her car driving away. This is before they reconstructed it. I don't know. It looks the same to me. This looks like what we see here. And then after they put the pieces back together, this is what they got. But they're still missing this chunkling of clear pieces right there. But I get what the other side is saying, which is, oh, you know, this part wasn't broken. It was this part that was broken. And it was clear, so you can't see it in the John O'Keefe car, right? And that Proctor smashed this and then sprinkled the pieces in the crime scene. Like, I get what you guys are saying on both sides. But I could also see it as, like, I don't know. I mean, this looks like this, and it looks like the welfare check footage. Oh, it fucking looks the same. It looks the same to me. It looks the same to me. Let me go back and read your guys's. Notice doesn't go near the taillight when clearing off the snow. Who doesn't go? Oh, the brother. You're talking about John O'Keefe's brother? I didn't see the taillight broken the way they claimed it was. It's superimposed on the taillight mark. It would more indicate just a crack or a tiny piece missing at most after she hit John's car, but broken out far more than when the police took custody. I mean, when she's pulling out right here, this, I mean, again, we're looking at like pixels here, right? We're looking at like blurry pixels. That to me looks like a significant chunkling is missing. Not like a small little piece. That looks like a good chunkling that's missing out of there. Oh, let me save this. Did I not save this one yet? It looks like a good chunkling is missing. Oh, no, I already have it saved. Okay. To me, it looks like a good piece. But then again, we're looking at pixels. I don't know. If we had more clear image, it would be way better. But I get what you guys are saying too. Like you guys are saying, here, maybe this is better. I get what you guys are saying too. You guys are saying that like, oh, this piece is the clear part that's missing. But to me, when I'm looking at it, I'm like, I don't know. It looks like all this part, maybe too, right? I don't know. It looks like it's like all this shit right here. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, the bulbs are clear. Yeah, I know that. The bulbs are clear and it's the housing or whatever you want to call it that's red. A big chunk missing. I don't know, to me, it just looks like a chunkling that's missing. It looks like a chunkling is missing. But you guys are saying that like, because in my understanding, right, would be, my understanding is this is the clear piece right here. But this right here, I don't know. It kind of looks like it's missing. But it also kind of looks like it's red. So I don't think we're really going to get anything definitive, like super definitive from here. Because I think this is the piece that they took out. This is like what's on the trunk or whatever, right? Yeah, so this is, here, let's do a comparison. So can I rotate this? This right here is intact, which is this right here, right? Now this right here is what's gone, which is all this shit right here. That's gone. But there's a little bit of red right there. Now, it seems like there is some red right here, and I wonder if that piece just fell at some point, but I can't tell if it's red or I can't tell if it's just reflection from this piece right here that's reflecting down here. Like, I don't know. I'm seeing red here and I'm seeing red here. I don't know. That's just hard. You need an ophthalmologist. I don't know. I get what you guys are saying. I completely get what you guys are saying. That's why I'm not like gonna confidently just say like, oh yeah, it's totally this. It's like, yeah, it could be this, it could be this. I don't fucking know. All right, let me get out of here. Woo, lots of side quests today. We're doing the lolly thing. Not focusing on the main quest, we're doing all the side quests, but I think the side quests are really fun. Because there's a lot of debate going on. It's not just like, I don't know, to me, I don't think it's clear cut. It's just like, oh, you know, it kind of looks like this. It could also look like this. Fudge. What is blocking? All right, let's take this out. All right, so this is, who is this? Who is that?
Thank you, Ms. Hillman. If I could have from the same Exhibit 6, video 171.
Oh, that was Brother Reed? Oh, Brother Reed was helping? Why is Mr. Lolly showing us this? There's no timestamp, so I don't know how long Karen Reed was in the house and how long, like, why is Lolly showing us this? Who's that? Is that the sister-in-law? It seems like for a second she was looking at the taillight for a second there. I can't tell.
Ms. Gilman, you can take that down. Mr. Officer, we can have the lights back on. Sergeant, from your
Hey, Matt Cheddar. Yeah, we already saw that. Lolly already showed that to us, where she backs up.
review of those videos, at various points you observed the defendant's brother cleaning off the defendant's car, correct?
That's correct.
At any point in time, did you observe the defendant's brother cleaning off the area of the right rear passenger side's taillight of the defendant's car?
I did not.
Oh, are they trying to say that he avoided it because it was like cracked and broken?
Now, Sergeant, turning your attention to February 1st of 2022, yourself and Trooper Connor Keith, is that someone you're familiar with?
I am.
And he works within your unit as well?
Yes, he does.
And at some point, did you and Trooper Keith on that day go to the C.F. McCarthy's establishment?
Yes, we did.
And what was the purpose of your visit to C.F. McCarthy's on that day?
The purpose of our visit was to retrieve surveillance video during the target time in question that we knew the victim and the defendant had visited the establishment. Also, any transaction receipts that we could collect from that location.
And were you able to retrieve both video as well as transaction receipts from that establishment?
We were.
And I'm sorry.
Why did we start the testimony off with this guy?
My apologies. Before I get into that, may I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Or sorry, the trial off with this guy. I think they should have started with this guy. The people that help make the timeline make a little bit more sense, we should have started with these people. Oh, also the brother didn't damage him while moving the snow. Okay. They have a footage of Karen Reed leaving the house either that day or, sorry, the day before, and the taillight looked fine. There's no damage or anything like that. But I know that something that did come up was, this is like in the pretrial stuff, there was like missing footage of the Ring camera. It never showed Karen Reed actually arriving at 34 Fairview. But I don't know, Lolly didn't bring that up, so whatever. Maybe that's with like an expert or something that will look through the surveillance footage, maybe.
And Sergeant, I'm showing you a series of 14 photographs, still shots. If you could just look up when you finish.
That's what I was wondering. I was like, are they hoping this guy will testify in lieu of Proctor? But I'm like, nah, get Proctor up in here. Get him up in here. Let him testify. He might not. He might just be like, oh, I plead the fifth, though. I want to hear from Proctor.
That we just watched.
And that would be, may I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
It was the same morning with Denise. Okay. So it was like February. It was January 29, right?
Thank you.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph number 30.
Are we
And
looking at
Sergeant, you
this?
recognize what's up on the screen now as Exhibit 456.
I do.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could just zoom towards the rear of the vehicle.
Oh, sorry. Yes, the 28th Friday. Thank you.
Have a moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
And Sergeant, what's up on the screen now, if you could direct the jury's attention with that laser pointer to the area of the rear.
Looks kind of red. Wait, what footage is this?
Passenger side tail light to describe the damage. Thank you, sir.
Do I need to be squinting my eye or something?
Ms. Gilman, you can take that, sir.
Wait, sorry. What was the date of that? Sorry, I think he said on the stand, right? But I skipped through it. And then they entered in. Sorry, he said it, but then I fucking poured through it. Jackson's gonna take a look at it.
14 photographs, still shots. If you could just look up when you finish.
Why did Mr. Lawley show that? Is it sped up? 1.5, yes.
And do you recognize those, sir?
I do.
And what do you recognize those to be?
I recognize these to be still photographs of the ring video that we just watched.
And that would be video 153, the one with the defendant backing out sometime after 5 a.m. on January 29th.
That's correct.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Okay. I think the other still shot that Lolly had looked better because it looked like more chunkling was missing, but that still shot that Lolly just put up, it looks more red to me. We love side quests. Okay, so this is what here's what Lolly puts up, and this is a still shot that I had. Lolly? You have questions, Inc?
Sergeant, you recognize what's up on the screen now as Exhibit 456?
I do.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could just zoom.
I don't fucking know, dude. I'm just confused. Okay, so maybe it's the angles. I don't know, but this is what Mr. Lolly put up. That looks more red to me. This right here looks more clear. This looks more clear. That one looks more red. Why the fuck did Lolly put that picture up? Because I feel like that would be a picture that the defense would put up. Be like, hey, look at this picture. Doesn't look more red here? But maybe it's angles. I don't know. You know what? Let's just throw away the surveillance footage. I'm just gonna, when I'm evaluating this case, I'm gonna evaluate other shit, okay?
Towards the rear of the vehicle.
Because depending on where you freeze frame it, it could look more red, it could look more white.
Yes.
And Sergeant, what's up on the screen now? If you could direct your attention with that laser pointer to the area of the rear passenger side taillight that you were describing damage before. Thank you, sir.
His other still freeze frame was better than this.
Just coming to take that, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, it's in motion, it's snowing.
Sure. So, Sergeant Bukenik, if I could take you again, I'm sorry, back on February 1st to Theater Cartons.
They kind of suck.
Your video and receipts from that establishment on that day.
That's correct.
Okay, let's talk about the bar. How much was everyone drinking? Let's go.
As far as the video and receipts, were you?
I did watch Karen's interview, and when the interviewer asked her how much she drank, she did hesitate or pause a little bit, and then she said 4 drinks.
And able to subsequently review those at some point?
Yes, I was.
Now, first, starting with respect to the video. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Did you recognize those, sir?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize those to be?
Those are still shots of the C.F. McCarthy's surveillance video that we collected from that establishment, from the dining room camera angle.
May I approach again, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm about to sit to introduce in a minute.
I did hear about that, about the judge being friends with, I don't know, there was like a Venmo or something for some like beach house thing, but it ended up being like a different Beverly. It wasn't even her. So, I mean, that just seems like, I don't know, like it doesn't seem true. But if there's other things the defense has, you know, about Beverly, I'm open to hear it. But as far as like the beach house thing, that seemed to end up being like, it ended up being nothing.
No objection.
Thank you.
Wasn't everyone drunk? I mean, it seems like everyone was pretty drunk. There was like one person that had a headache. She didn't really drink. She like left, right? I don't remember the Coley Keitha said that they drank a lot, but it seems like everyone else were having a jolly good time. You know, they were drinking. Drank more when they got back to their place.
Thank you.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, if I could ask those to be published to the jury at this point.
Okay.
Oh, you paid for it? Where are you at the battle pass?
And Sergeant Bukenik, you recognize what's up
I didn't pay for it because I was like, meh, the skins look eh.
on the screen?
Yes, I do.
And if you could, using the laser pointer, draw the jury's attention to what, if anything, of significance you observed is still shot from the CF Cartons.
We observe the victim, Mr. John O'Keefe, here. Appears to be communicating with the defendant here. Mr. Camarano is over here as well. Mr. Sullivan is down here as well. Mr. O'Keefe is wearing the gray, light, two-tone sweatshirt that I held up earlier, as well as the jeans.
Well, it's my understanding that she didn't recuse herself because she said that she doesn't want internet rumors to lead to judges having to recuse themselves if they're not even true.
And the next still shot, Ms. Gilman, please.
Because I don't think they were able to actually, like, I mean, the defense, if there was something, they probably would have established, like, oh, hey, like, you are connected, and here's the X, Y, and Z and stuff like that, right? But it seems like that wasn't really established, so that's why she didn't recuse herself.
And similar to this, similar to the previous one, excuse me, Sergeant, do you recognize what's depicted in this still shot here?
Yes, it's, again, the victim on the other side of the defendant, still dressed in the same outfit, and the defendant standing in front of him.
And as far as the bar area adjacent to the defendant, what, if anything, of significance do you know there?
The bar area is located near the taps, the draft beer taps at C.F. McCarthy's. So if you were to look at the bar from the street, that is the left side of the bar orientation on the way to.
Bev's brother also represented Chris Albert in the fatal DUI. They're all connected. I haven't heard about that one. I heard about just the beach house Venmo thing or whatever it was.
The restrooms.
And I'm sorry, I should have been more specific. As far as the sort of shelf of the bar,
Here's a clear cocktail class thing.
immediately adjacent to the defendant's left arm, what, if anything, do you observe that?
Here I observe a cylindrical vase-style
Cylindrical vase style
cocktail glass on the bar, as well as other beer bottles.
Thanks. Ms. Gilman, you can take that down. With reference to the C.F. McCarthy's video, Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would ask to publish certain portions of that. It's already been marked as exhibit.
So we get
7 minutes and
timestamps?
50 seconds.
Oh, please don't zoom in so we can't see the timestamps. That's like so fucking annoying.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could pause just for a moment, I'm just going to ask you to play from 7:50 to about 8 minutes and 20 seconds in, but I may ask you to pause it.
They zoomed in so much we can't see the timestamps. Why?
Ms. Gilman, if you could pause there. Sergeant, as far as just, again, for orientation purposes, with reference to the entrance or exit, point of ingress, egress to the bar, do you observe that somewhere within this video?
Yes, at the top of the screen is the front door to C.F. McCarthy's bar. And as we just viewed, the two gentlemen walking in, they walked in through the front door, heading to the taps area, draft beer location of the bar.
And if you could, just use the laser pointer to direct your attention to that front door area that you're talking about.
The front door area is located right here.
And with respect to those two individuals that came in, do you recognize those two individuals?
Yes, that is the victim, Mr. John O'Keefe, dressed in the same outfit as before, and Mr. Camarano.
Camarano testified. Oh, it's always so chilling to see like the last moments that the victims had, like the last couple hours before he died.
Ms. Gilman, if I could ask you from the same exhibits, same exhibit 50 from the third video now. If I could ask you to go about 6 minutes and 10 seconds in.
Oh, Karen arrives.
And I'm going to ask you to play that until about 6 minutes and 43 seconds. If I could ask you to pause just there. As far as the individuals around Mr. O'Keefe and Mr. Camarano, do you observe or recognize anybody else in the bar area around them at this time?
Mr. O'Keefe is sitting next to Mr. Camarano.
The bar is 12 minutes out of real time. Oh, they're like, did Lolly mention that? Did I miss that shit?
I believe Mr. Kurt Roberts is there as well, next to Mr. Camarano.
Now, from this time, we're at about 8:51 p.m. or so within the video. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, as far as the timestamp on this video, what, if any, information were you provided when you retrieved this video on February 1st in relation to that time and its accuracy to what time was?
During video surveillance extraction, we verify the time and date on the system, and that is to show us how far behind in the past or in the future. Sometimes devices are
Okay. He's here.
timestamped that's in the future. It hasn't happened yet in real time, but the video is stamped so. So what we do is prior to extracting video, we identify the difference in time between real time and video time. In this case, C.F. McCarthy's video was 12 minutes behind real time.
Why was it behind by 12 minutes?
And thank you. And Ms. Gilman, if you could play this to about 6 minutes and 40 minutes.
I can't even see the timestamp, so it don't even matter to us. All right, Karen arrives. Kissies, huggies. She's smiling. Good mood.
You just pause there briefly, Ms. Gilman. As far as anyone else within the area of the bar, in the area of Mr. Camarano, Mr. Roberts, who anyone else you recognize in that area at this point?
I recognize the defendant walking in and interacting with the victim, Mr. John O'Keefe.
Yeah, from my understanding, it's the way that they're charging her. It's not, what's it? It's second degree, right? Second degree murder. Yeah. So it's like, I think first degree is premeditation, probably. Like she planned to do it. Possibly second degree could be like she intended to have him killed. Maybe that's why they charge her with second degree.
Ms. Gilman, if you could, within that same video 3, I would ask you to go to about 13 minutes and 15 seconds. I'm going to ask you to play from here to about 14 minutes and 45 seconds.
Okay, so she's ordering a drink. Okay, drink number 1.
Now, from your review of this video, what, if anything, of significance do you observe in this part of the video?
This part of the video, I observed the defendant reaching over and retrieving a cylindrical, tall cocktail glass from the bartender.
And again, given the understanding that the video is about...
And what we didn't hear from the testimonies of the bartenders, because I know the Waterfall bartender testified. I don't know if the bartender from Waterfall testified. Did they? What I want to know is, was that a double? Because sometimes when you order, like, let's say you get like a vodka soda, right? Vodka soda, usually if it's like a one shot, it's like in a short glass. If you order a double, they put in a taller glass. But I don't know, maybe at this place, they just serve singles in a tall glass as well.
12 minutes off as far as the timestamp. The defendant entered about 8:51 p.m. and is receiving this drink about 8:58 p.m. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And if you could, Ms. Gilman, play that too.
What time did she get this drink? Can we get some times, please? This is before everything happened. Yes, this is a couple hours before. I think this is around 9 something? 9 p.m.?
Now, Ms. Gilman, if you could go up to about 32 minutes even into the same video. Now I'm going to ask you to play that for the next 30 seconds or so, so about 32 minutes and 30 seconds. And Sergeant, during that about 30 seconds or so, what, if anything, of significance did you observe the defendant to receive at that point?
A cylindrical cocktail glass.
Okay, she got
And
another
so
drink.
that would be the second drink, is that correct?
That's correct.
And that's at approximately 9:15, is that correct?
That's correct.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could go forward to about 37 minutes into the same video. If you could play that for about the next minute or so, for about 38 minutes.
I don't know why Lolly is not. I think it's important to establish, like he's saying like timestamps, but like not like the actual timestamps of like when the time is actually happening. I think he should establish like, okay, so like at 9 o'clock she had this drink, at 9:20 she had this drink, just so we can get a good, easy idea of like how fast was she pounding her drinks, or was she drinking at a slower pace. But I think right before, I think the first drink happened, and then maybe 20 minutes later, second drink, and then what was it, 5 or 10 minutes? Next drink? Drink 1, drink 2. There's a shot, and she pours it in her cup. Ooh. That's a strong one. I've done that before too. It's like maybe you just want your drink to taste
from
stronger.
that, about 1 minute portion from that video, what, if anything, of significance did you observe the defendant receive and do with any items?
She received the
shot.
shot glass beverage and poured it into the tall cylindrical cocktail glass, and then Mr. John O'Keefe stirred it for her.
Oh wait, do we have footage of her eating? Did she ever eat? I'm assuming maybe she ate dinner. I know she was hungry later on and wanted to get pizza. Like I wonder if she was eating on an empty stomach. Did she eat earlier?
So that would now be the third drink, is that correct?
That is correct.
And that's about 9:20 p.m., is that correct?
That's correct.
Oh, what? 9:20 p.m. Did I miss the other times? Am I just an idiot and I just missed when Lolly talked about all the other times? I might have. Oopsies.
Ms. Gilman, if I could direct you to the fourth video, video number 4.
9:20 p.m. Takes a shot and pour into the glass.
I ask you to go about 50 seconds into into this video. And I'm going to ask you to play this, Ms. Gilman, from 50 seconds to about 1/3.
Hamster? Oh, I hate hamster. He's hard. All right, what else we got? Okay, she's giving her old glass back. And then she has her new drink. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Gilman. So, Sergeant, from this particular video, what, if anything, is significance do you observe the defendant receiving during this time frame?
She receives another shot glass beverage and then places that liquid into her tall cocktail glass and stacks the second shot glass into the first shot glass into the first tall cylindrical cocktail glass she had.
Wait, what? What happened? Hold on. Okay, sorry. I didn't see. Oh, there's two cups there. I missed that. Okay, hold on.
And I'm going to ask you to play this, Ms. Gilman, from 50 seconds to about 1/3.
Okay, so there's 2 cups there. Okay. She puts like trash into 1 cup. Okay. She grabs all the other shit. Yeah.
Thank you, Ms. Gilman. So, Sergeant, from this particular video, what, if anything, is significance do you observe the defendant receiving during this time frame?
She receives another shot glass beverage and then places that liquid into her tall cocktail glass and stacks the second shot glass into the first shot glass into the first tall cylindrical cocktail glass she had previously received and consumed.
So this would now be the 4th drink, is that correct?
That is correct.
And per the video, that's about 9:33 p.m., is that correct?
Well, is it drink number 4? So we have drink number 1, drink number 2, they're regular. Number 3 is when she takes a shot and pours into the glass. Drink number 4, she takes another shot and pours it into the cup. I'm sorry. I'm being very a little pedantic, I guess. I can't fucking see. Oh, there is a shot glass here. Oh, okay.
That is correct.
Video number 4 into this video. And I'm going to ask you to play this, Ms. Gilman, from 50 seconds to about 1/3.
Okay, so I do see a shot glass right here. Okay. And then I don't know what the bartender handed over. I can't see. Let's see. Okay, so the bartender hands over... Oh, a shot glass and 2 beers. Okay, so she puts the empty shit in there. And then this is where she pours the shot glass into there. Okay.
Thank you, Ms. Gilman. So, Sergeant, from this particular video, what, if anything, is significance do you observe the defendant receiving during this time frame?
She receives another shot glass beverage and then places that liquid into her tall cocktail glass and stacks the second shot glass into the first shot glass into the first tall cylindrical cocktail glass she had previously received and consumed.
Okay.
So this would now be the 4th drink, is that correct?
That is correct.
And per the video, that's about 9:33 p.m., is that correct?
That is correct.
And Ms. Gilman, within the same video, if I could ask you to go to about 26 minutes and 30 seconds.
Oh, sorry. What time was that?
Just I'm going to ask you to play this until about 27:40.
How many has she had now? So she's had 1 drink, 2 drinks, and then the 3rd one, she took a shot and poured it into her glass. So that's technically 3, but with no like soda or anything extra added. And then the 4th one does the same thing, takes a shot and then puts it in the glass that she has, which is like ice and like probably like diluted soda. So technically 4. But at some point she's getting more liquor than she's adding more liquor and then not adding more like soda. But she's got like melted ice and shit. Oh, I'm getting so hungry. Yeah, they go to the waterfall after this. Yeah, stop touching my face. That's how I get pimples.
Thank you, Ms. Gilman. During that period, Sergeant, what, if anything, of significance did you observe the defendant to receive during that time frame?
She received a tall cylindrical cocktail glass.
Okay. Drink
And in addition to
5.
that, what, if anything else, did she receive from the bartender during that time?
A shot glass size beverage.
And what, if anything, did she do with the shot glass in regard to the larger cylindrical glass?
It was placed inside the tall cylindrical cocktail glass.
Wait, what? Okay, that's her getting more drinks. She's sipping.
Thank you, Ms. Gilman. During that period, Sergeant, what, if anything, of significance did you observe the defendant to receive during that time frame?
The footage from the waterfall is like you could barely see because there's one video cam and they're all at like towards the bar area. It's like kind of blurry. You can kind of see who's who, but like you can't really see much. This is way better footage.
She received a tall cylindrical cocktail glass.
And in addition to that, what, if anything else, did she receive from the bartender during that time?
A shot glass size beverage.
And what, if anything, did she do with the shot glass in regard to the larger cylindrical glass?
It was placed inside the tall cylindrical cocktail glass.
I mean, I don't know why she just doesn't just order like a double, or was she already ordering doubles and this is like a triple?
So that would be
Because she gets another tall glass, that's the 5th one, and then she gets a shot glass and she puts it in there. So we're at like
drinks 5 and 6. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Yeah.
And per the timestamp on the bar video, this is now about 9:57 p.m. Is that correct?
Correct.
9:57.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could direct you to video number 5.
Oh yeah, she hitting it. She drinking it back to back.
And if I could ask you to go to about 3 minutes in
9:57.
and ask you to play that till about 3:30 or so. Thank you, Ms. Gilman. And if I could ask you to go to about 10 minutes and 30 seconds in,
Drink 7.
and I would ask you to play that for about a minute to about 11:30 or so.
How many drinks did she drink at Waterfall? I think this is all within an hour or two. All right, now everyone's cheersing and they're all drinking shots. Oh, she's got a new glass.
Thank you, Ms. Gilman. So, Sergeant, sort of round of shots during this portion of the video, is that correct?
That's
Yeah, sustained. You can ask it differently.
What, if anything, of significance did you observe the defendant and/or the group that she was with do in this portion of the video?
in this portion of the video. The two gentlemen to the right of the defendant consume a shot-sized beverage.
And as far as the shot glass,
A shot-sized beverage. Why does that sound so weird? I hate shots, to be honest. Yeah, I think shots are dangerous. But sometimes I like them, depending on what liquor it is. But yeah, it could be dangerous.
the defendant received, what, if anything, do you observe her to do with that?
Objection.
I'll allow it. Or strike that. Just what did you observe, not what she had.
What did you observe the defendant to do during that portion?
Prior to the shots being taken, a shot glass was poured into the cylindrical tall glass.
And again, so that would be drink number 7 at that point?
That would be drink number 6.
No, that's number 7.
And I'm sorry, so the previous portion was a cylindrical drink
Well, you're not going to correct that?
and then a shot glass that was 5 and 6, is that correct?
Objection.
I think that was the testimony, but ask it differently.
As far as that drink during that portion, is that drink number 6 or drink number 7?
Objection.
Yeah, in that form, I'll sustain it.
At this point in time in the video, after watching what you watched, how many
He's miscounting. We're technically at drink number 7 now.
drinks has the defendant consumed at this point?
At this point, she's consumed or is in possession of
Objection.
I'll allow it.
6 drinks.
Oh God, he got his numbers
And this
off.
is at approximately 10:29 p.m., is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so 10. I mean, he's probably just confused, but he kind of in the wrong because he already admitted that drink number 5 and 6 happened earlier. We're at 10:29 now. This is drink number 7, but whatever.
Ms. Gilman, if you could go to about 20 minutes and 30 seconds in. And just wait for the next 10, 20 seconds. And so during that portion of the video, what, if anything, do you observe as to the drink the defendant has and how full it is at that point?
She has a cylindrical tall cocktail glass in her hand.
And can you observe, or did you observe how full that glass was?
Drink number 6 is empty, or near the bottom, almost empty.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could ask you to go to about 22 minutes and 40, I'm sorry, 22:40 or so.
Lolly's like, stop calling it drink number 6.
For the time stamp, I'm sorry.
Oh, we're almost done with the testimony. So is tomorrow half day? Wait, hold on. Let me. Oh shit!
Now, from-
Sorry. Hold on. Let me go back. My bad. Half day and no Friday. Okay. Yeah, she's taking the drink with her. She's like, bye. This drink is mine.
Now, from this portion of the video, Sergeant, what, if anything, do you observe the defendant and Mr. O'Keefe doing in reference to CF cards?
Once the defendant got drink number 7, the defendant and Mr. O'Keefe walk out of C.F. McCarthy's, the defendant holding the beverage, tall cylindrical glass in her hand.
Now, may I approach?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman, you can take that time. I'm sorry. I'm showing you the 5-page document. Asking you to review that, look up when we finish.
I mean, I'm sure we could see the receipts to see if they're singles or doubles. But from my understanding, this is all in the time frame of like an hour and a half.
And do you recognize that document, sir?
Yes, I do.
And I don't know how much she ended up drinking at the waterfall, but like 7 liquor drinks in an hour and a half, yeah, seems like a lot.
What do you recognize it to be?
I recognize it to be a series of transaction receipts from the tabs at C.F. McCarthy's.
Oh, we have receipts.
And are these the
Yay.
transaction receipts or tabs that you received, you and Trooper Keefe received from C.F. McCarthy's on February 1st, 2022?
Yes, they are.
And with reference to those receipts or tabs, to whom, if anyone of significance to you, do those tabs pertain to?
The first one for 5280 was opened under.
Do people just walk out without? Oh, no. No, you don't. But I may have done that before when I was in my 20s, like drunk in my 20s. Probably.
The bar tab, Karen A. Reed.
And is there also a...
But I think it was just something that her and John did, because, you know, she obviously did it at McCarthy, and then John did it at the waterfall. So maybe it was just like a silly thing that they did when they were drunk.
receipt from John O'Keefe?
Yes, it is. The transaction through the credit card being a MasterCard for 5280.
When I was young, though, my mom would steal steak knives when we would go out and eat. That's kind of embarrassing. Like, it wasn't just like stealing one. It was like stealing like the whole set, like 4 of them on the table. And the waitress was probably like, what the fuck happened to the knives here?
Was paid by Mr. John J. O'Keefe.
And with reference to the items listed within that particular receipt, what, if any, items of significance do you observe listed on the receipts?
Under Karen A. Reed's receipt, 1 Tito's.
That's true. There is a high mark on alcohol. Ugh.
$10. 1 Tito's, $10.
Wait, sorry. My screen is like geeking out for some reason. Give me a second.
1 Coors Light, $5.
Items of significance do you observe listed on the receipts?
Under Karen A. Reed's receipt, 1 Tito's, $10. 1 Tito's, $10. 1 Coors Light, $5.
Sustained.
May I, Proctor?
Yes.
I'm up to introduce the medicine act exhibit. On February 1st, what, if any, other establishments did you go to in
Correct.
C.F. McCarthy's under? And so, Sergeant Bukenik, on those receipts from C.F. McCarthy's under both Ms. Reed's receipt and Mr. O'Keefe's receipt, there was Tito's vodka listed on the receipt, correct?
Correct.
Now, also on February 1st, what, if any, other establishments did you go to?
Oh, so we can't go over the itemized, but at least it's established that she was drinking vodka. Because other people assumed that she was drinking vodka, but they weren't sure. And then I think defense was like, oh, she could have been drinking water, right? It's like, maybe.
To in the town campus?
Myself and Trooper Keefe went up across the street to the Waterfall Bar and Grill and retrieved transaction receipts and video from
And Karen looks, to me, she looks kind of petite.
there as well.
As far as the video is concerned from that establishment, have you reviewed that video as well?
Yes, I did.
She probably held her liquor very well, though, because everyone that was hanging out with them said that, like, you know, she was in a jolly good mood. They didn't see that she was, like, slurring her words and probably being like, whatever. So she probably held her liquor pretty well. But, you know, maybe at some point everyone was also really fucking drunk as well and they don't remember.
And with regard to the receipts from that establishment, you reviewed those as well. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
All right, receipts from the waterfall.
And do you recognize those, sir?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize those to be?
Those are still shots of surveillance video from the Waterfall Bar and Grill on the night of January 29th after midnight, and Mr. O'Keefe is depicted in the still shot.
And those are both interior as well as exterior camera shots of Mr. O'Keefe's sort of exit from the waterfall. Is that correct?
That's correct. Interior, him leaving at 12.
Crohn's? I know someone said that she has MS. Does she also have Crohn's as well?
11 a.m., which the timestamp on the surveillance video at the Waterfall was accurate to real time. He is holding a beverage shorter cocktail glass in his right hand as he exits the establishment. He's seen on the exterior camera walking towards Washington Street.
Thank you, May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm about to seek to introduce the minutes.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't remember if people said that she was also drinking at the waterfall or if she was just drinking the cup that she had with her.
Thank you.
Thank you. Your Honor, with court's permission, if I could ask the publish for the jury.
Yes.
Please come if I can have the first one. Interior. Thank you. And Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen, which is now the mark that's 464?
I do.
And what do you recognize that to be?
That is the still shots presented to me and entered into the exhibit of Mr. O'Keefe walking out of the Waterfall Bar and Grill at 12:11 a.m. on the night of the early morning hours of January 29th, holding a cocktail glass.
And if I could have the second still from the second still. And again, do you recognize what's up on the screen, sir?
Yes, sir.
And if you could, using the laser pointer before you just direct the jury's attention to where you observe Mr. O'Keefe and what, if anything, you observe Mr. O'Keefe holding as he's exiting the waterfall.
Mr. O'Keefe is observed here. He's holding that shorter, fatter cocktail glass as he's walking out of the establishment.
And Ms. Newman, if I could have from the exterior, just the second one, please.
Winston is
And again,
hard.
Sergeant, do you
Looks
recognize
fun, though, but he's hard to play.
on the screen, which is now marked as exhibit 467.
Yes, I do.
And if you could, give the laser pointer direct the jury's attention to what, if anything, is significant to observe in this step.
This is Mr. O'Keefe walking out of the...
Right? No, same here. Losing teaspoons. My sister claims that it's me throwing him away. I'm like, no, it's not me. Someone's stealing from us.
Waterfall establishment, holding the cocktail glass in his right hand as he walks towards Washington Street.
Okay, so 12:11.
You can take that.
Leave waterfall with
Lights,
cocktail glass.
Madam Mayor, approach the witness.
Yes.
I mean, I guess the defense could say, well, how do you know Karen did go to the bathroom to throw up the liquids that she was drinking? I don't know if she went to the bathroom or not, but everyone's taking their drinks to go. I think it's just a Karen and John thing.
Four.
I do recognize, yes.
Are those the receipts that you received from the waterfall when you went there on February 1st?
Yes, they are.
Thank you. Mayor, approach the
Yes.
All right, waterfall receipts. What do we got?
Now, sir, with reference to the waterfall, in regard to the timestamp on that surveillance video, what, if anything, were you told as far as the accuracy of that timestamp when you retrieved that video?
That video was confirmed to be accurate in time, as in real time. No discrepancy.
And Your Honor, with the court's permission, if I could just publish 3 quick clips from what's been marked as Exhibit 53.
Okay.
Oh, do we not get to talk about the receipts from the waterfall?
Ms. Gilman, if I could ask from Channel 3, the second video down. If I could ask you to go from the timestamp on the top of the screen to 10:54 in 25 seconds. That's a computer playground.
Oh, is that John and Karen? I think John went this way and Karen went the other way.
Ask you to pause right there. So, Sergeant, from that particular portion of the video, what, if anything, of significance did you observe further?
That portion of video depicts Mr. John O'Keefe walking in with the defendant gesturing to a group of people at the top of the screen, and then Mr. O'Keefe walking over and giving a hug to an individual that's part of the group.
So from the same Channel 3, Ms. Gilman, if I could have from the fourth video down. If I could ask you to go
Why don't we follow this in a chronological order?
11:39 and 40 seconds. Pause there, thank you. And in about 5 to 10 seconds or so, I'm going to ask Ms. Gilman if you could pause it, and I'm just going to ask Sergeant if you could direct your attention to sort of the top right corner of the screen. Thank you, so much. Pause there. From that portion of the video, you observed the defendant in that portion of the video?
Yes, I did.
And what, if anything, did you observe her to be doing?
She retrieves a drink from the table and appears to consume it.
Now, as far as the drink and the tall cylindrical glass that you observed her walking out of C.F. McCarthy's with, what, if anything, do you observe from the glass that she's taking a sip of from this portion of the video of the waterfall?
It's a shorter, fatter style glass compared to the cylindrical tall style that she walked out of C.F. McCarthy's with.
Thanks.
Yep, so she
Ms.
continued
Gilman, you can
drinking?
take that. And Mr. Officer, if we could have the lights. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Lally, why don't we end for the day? It's been a long
I wonder in the voice messages that she left for John, I wonder if she sounds like drunk as fuck in those voice messages. I feel like she had to be like really drunk.
day. Everybody ready to go home? Yeah, okay. All right. So, Sergeant, we're going to be back tomorrow, and I'll ask you to just independent research or investigation into the case.
All rise for the board, please.
Look at that eye roll. Karen was in finance, and then she was also a what's another term for like part-time professor? I think she was also like a professor as well.
Very quality.
And I will see counsel at sidebar about scheduling, please.
Sidebar, please.
Oh, you don't have Crohn's anymore? Oh, sorry, what was it? She probably shouldn't be drinking so much of the chronic with Crohn's. She could really end up sick. I had microscopic colitis for about 4 years. Had to be careful what to eat or drink. How did it go away? You thought she was a therapist? Professor in the same college as her father worked. But isn't there a term for that? What's the term that I'm thinking of? When you're not there full time, but you're like, but not part-time professor. There's like a better way to say that. Who's the glarer? It doesn't go away. Oh, it can flare up at times. She's out on bond. Oh, yeah. Adjunct professor. Yeah. I think that's the word that I was looking for. The glarer is in true crime YouTuber? Wait, who's the glarer? In the courtroom? I really wish they would just do sidebars where we can just hear everything. The guy behind Karen, all black. This guy? Oh, I think this is Karen's brother, by the way. I saw him in an interview. I wonder if that's like his wife, like that's Karen's sister-in-law. Oh, that's it? What's a tragedy grifter? Like, I can parse those words apart, but I've never heard it before. Okay. All right. Well, had surveillance footage. I think Karen was probably really fucking drunk. That's a lot of drinks that she had. Let's see. Before that, we were talking about the tail light. Lots of confusion there. Lots of back and forth. Lots of disagreements with the tail light. We followed the car as... So Karen Reed's car was at John O'Keefe's house, and then it was driven to her parents' house, and then Proctor and Bukenik, who testified today, retrieved it, had it towed from Dayton, where her parents lived, to Canton PD. They processed it, and then when they were done, Bukenik drove it the next day to a different Sally Port. That way, Canton PD will have an open garage, so it's just not taking up space there. What else do we got? Yeah, I don't know. Can I hear from the medical examiner, please? I want to hear from the medical examiner and, like, I guess the other experts. A tragedy pimp? I've never heard of a tragedy pimp before. Oh, that's her cousin? Oh. Some people who grifts off dead or missing people on YouTube. He's attracted to those in time of tragedy, gets the attention, but when it's gone, so is he? Question mark? Oh, I've never heard of that term before. Interesting. I know there was just one YouTuber. Who was it? There's just one YouTuber who covered the Petito stuff, and then covered the Depp stuff, and then covered... Oh, there's also something big that happened, but they're all lies. Like the thumbnails, everything. It was just like all lies. It was just like, because I would click on them, like, oh, this is interesting. Like, oh, this is like crazy. I'll click on them, like, wait a second, that didn't happen in the trial. Yeah, I forgot who it was though, but it was like another YouTuber that would cover things that were like really like big and popular on YouTube, but they were just like all lies. I don't know. And it's like, oh, why lie about it? Because you can just get fact checked by all these people on the internet. But yeah, I don't know who it was. I don't know if they're still on YouTube though. Yeah, there was one making stuff up. Yeah, but that was weird to me because of the people that are in the true crime community. A lot of them like to do their like research and stuff like that. So it makes sense not to come up with like fabricated shit, you know, because people are obviously going to fact check you. So that was a weird one. Dude, guys, I'm fucking starving. I'm hungry. Joseph Morris. I don't know if that name rings a bell. Maybe? I'm not quite sure. Did he wear a cap or have a beard? I don't remember. He was a white guy. That's all I remember. All right, guys. I hope you guys have a good one. take care. And tomorrow, we're going to finish with Bukenik. I guess maybe we'll get into a little bit of direct examination. Maybe we'll get into cross-examination. But tomorrow's going to be a half day. So I'm thinking maybe I will stream... because I don't want to wake up early for this shit. Like, fuck no. I was waking up early for some of the testimonies that I thought were really interesting, especially some of the cross-examinations. But tomorrow I will start my stream, I guess maybe when the trial ends for the day. But for me, that's like 1 o'clock my time, which is like, it's perfect. Works for me. So guys, thank you so much for hanging out here. I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you so much for the discussions. Thanks for having me in the background and all that good stuff. All right. I hope you guys have a good one. Take care. And feel free to join the Discord if you like. Have your notifications on. And yeah, that's about it. I don't know. Thanks for joining us. I hope you guys have a good one. Take care of yourself and see ya. Yeah, bye. I know, I'm so hungry.